Leche. 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 Get 'em, Jimmy, where low shack at. The bottle's getting nippy up the crack and we stacking chips. All of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated public sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced. Feed the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call it truth. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, campers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Wednesday, March 1st to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Thank God it's March. February was not good. Disappointing month. Disappointing start to 2023. Try to act as if, the cup is half full. Turn the page. Reframe the situation. Yesterday was disappointing. Indiana was atrocious, and Tampa Bay Lightning was wrong. I have not seen the Lightning get outplayed in the first period like that. Outshot, 17-3? Ever. I don't remember ever seeing that, at least in the last 6 years. A very, very tough. There were some winners last night that helped, but frustrated. Very, very, very frustrated. And excited about today's show. Excited about starting March out right. We have both It's Durrell and LJ from H-Town joining us for NBA. There were some good looks in NBA yesterday on the show. Then we have Dabby Cab joining us for college basketball. And we need to get popping. We need to get winning. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And God damn, it's about as much as I've needed cash as I can remember. We had such a glorious 2022, and we had 10 straight winning months, and from February to November, and I guess I just got a little, I don't know, a little too comfortable maybe. I think I have too many things up here. My computer's moving slowly. I want to give you guys all a shout out, but it's just taking a second here to pop up. I guess the stream is working fine, I hope, here. Shout out to all you guys joining me. I'm a little flustered. I'm a little pissed off. I'm a little angry. Having a tough time sleeping. We have huge shows coming up this weekend. We're moving into March Madness. We're moving into San Antonio and Pablo-Palooza. We're moving into the Kentucky Derby. We're moving into all these crucial things. And my computer is a big problem right now, a huge problem. So let me just cut out a couple of those things. Get this gone here. Get maybe Pinnacle off here. Let's get the injury report off. Maybe that will help. Get this off. Okay, here we go. Now we're in business. Okay, now we're moving. Shout out to all you guys joining us. Thank you. Some Solution says it's March Madness. There's Viper MB, J-Dub, the Nuke Workers, Thieves by Law, Bang Bang says March is all about the bag. Yes, this is a great month for making money. Nuke Worker says Red Wings are what we thought they were. They were atrocious last night. It was really rough to watch. And those were additions, too. Those weren't even initially part of the plan. And, of course, I don't move on Columbus because of Merzlikins and Columbus first period cashes, full game cashes. Buffalo is susceptible right now without Dahlin or Tuck in the lineup. Their serious business. Alec, Bo Jackson, KD, Rez, Mob says, did anyone else get paid off on Iowa? I didn't. That was a great look, Rez. Justin McElvey says, this time tomorrow I'll be a grandfather at age 44. That's exciting, Justin McElvey. Congratulations, man. That's really, really, really exciting. Says they're going to do this at some point today. Please keep us in the loop. We'll be cheering for you. That's great news. Subhuman Groucho says, very frustrated with the Wings last night. Kadesh cashed in NBA. Lillard under 37.5. That was just a gift. Anytime we're in that situation. That was my first player prop bet in like 2 years. But I had to make it. J-Rose says, new month. Let's go. There's Jay Peasy. Mike M. Vipe ready to go. Tony Cobbs, DC Capper, big day. I'm sure I did, DC Kepper. I had it all copied and pasted. And if you missed it, or if I missed it, that was an oversight, not something I would plan to do at DC. We know that you've been cashing big. So Kadesh says Malik Beasley and Zach Levine unders as well. Vipe says live betting saved his hide yesterday. Speaking of live betting, Sunday Night Live, our second episode pops off this Sunday. We start at 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m. tip-off between the Celtics at home to the New York Knicks. And then at 9 p.m., we have the Kraken at the Avalanche. So we will be live betting those two games and others, but focusing mainly on those two games. That is Sunday. Saturday, we have horse racing extravaganza starting at 10:45 in the morning. We had a great first horse racing day at the races of the year about a month ago. A lot of us made a lot of cash. Razor's been just so hot with the ponies. And so we're going to be there 10:45 this Saturday morning. 10:45 Saturday morning. Rob Free says Clippers officially on the do not bet list along with 19 other teams. North Ender said, I traded Wagner yesterday. As soon as I saw Gary Trent settling for that three, I knew I was getting hookered. Boise State win was electric. Yeah, great job there. Chris DeHoot says, tore my meniscus yesterday at the gym. Says, this show will cheer me up. I hate hearing that you tore your meniscus, but love having you rocking with us. So Chris in the house. Slatsy says, looks like Bolts let a lot of us down. New month have Canes money line and under 7.5 plus 120. Avs money line minus 125. Flyers team total under 2.5 minus 109. I have moved on 6 bets in NHL. I am going to do a couple different things here. I try to reframe things positively. We talk about the glass being half full, depending on what's in the glass, depending if it's a water drinking contest, then you'd say the glass is half empty, but whatever. I need a winning March. I guess I got a little too comfortable with all the success we had last year, and it's not been a good 2023. I need to start today. I need to be locked in. I feel locked in NHL, even though I haven't shown a lot. I haven't proved it. I took a lot of heat for the Lightning look. We did cash the under 7 very easily. Came 5 seconds away from pushing the team total on the Panthers, but it was disappointing. I'm ready to fire. I fired 6 bets in NHL, and I'm not going to be pensive here. I'm going to be firing today. We have a huge week. We have a huge month. What I don't want to have. Part of the need for success is that this is going to be one of the most exciting months ever. And we need cake. We need to go down to San Antonio with a ton of cash, ready to rock here. I mean, the poker tournament where we'll decide on the entry fee and the horse racing there. But we want to be hammering bets together nonstop, and so the importance of success here is crucial.
Strippers don't talk to broke boys.
Oh, I don't need them to talk to me. The slap fest at 1 a.m. is the least of my concerns. That's Jose. I'm looking forward to watch you host Slap Fest. Don't get me wrong. And I think there'll be a lot of laughs, but that is not my concern. I do not need patronage from strippers. I need wins, and I need my bankroll to balloon like it did during the football season and last year. So let's get to work. Let's get to work right now. Thank you guys for joining us. We have both It's Durrell and LJ from H-Town rocking NBA with us. That's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a fun Wednesday to have them both ready to go. Res Mob ready to go. Let's get to work. Rocco says, I was very excited about the Lightning too. Let's come back strong today. At least we got the Penguins -1 at plus 130. That was a fortunate last 5 minutes. I knew when Sidney scored that. Look out now, man. He's a momentum starter. But let's get to work right now. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, New York Rangers 34-17-9, 17-7-5 on the road at Philadelphia Flyers 23-28-10, 11-15-3 at home. We're at Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Igor Shesterkin, Carter Hart is who is listed. Let me know if I've made a mistake. Shesterkin 26-10-7, 2.65 goals against average, 9-10 save percentage, 1 shutout. Some Solutions says no surprise here. Rangers in regulation. I didn't move on Rangers in regulation. I knew the market was going to move towards the Rangers. I thought that a lot of people would expect Patrick Kane to be playing. Patrick Kane will be in uniform tomorrow night at home versus the Ottawa Senators. He's not making his debut this evening. That's the biggest story in this game. I just don't want to fade any team after a 7-0 loss, especially a team with Tortorella at coach, especially a team that's having all this changeover in the Rangers right now. Look, the Rangers are going to be very good, but when are they going to start being very good? That's the question. Rangers 6-3-1 over their past 10, 27.6% power play, 67.9% penalty killing. Philadelphia 2-7-1, 11.8% power play over their past 10, 66.7% penalty killing. They've had a tough time with Travis Konechny out with an upper body injury, and also JVR. They're calling him a little banged up, but we expect that he's just being held out of the lineup so that they could trade him. Kevin P says got to be an under here. Let's take a look at the line history for this spot, and I stayed off of it. I felt like it almost felt like a deja vu spot over the last couple of years, where look, I get it that the Rangers are probably an okay look at minus 185. Take them on the -1 line. I get it. I knew that I was just looking at a public spot before most of the public was looking at it yesterday. And I knew that the market would move, and it has, but not very much. So I could have got it minus 185 at bet 365. It's now minus 210. Having succeeding on a 25-cent move there, it didn't really appeal to me enough with the Flyers coming off that big loss. This total opened up at 6.5, minus 115 to the under. It's now moved to 6, slightly juiced to the over, so a half-point move towards the over. The Rangers also are going to be without a top 4 defenseman in Keandre Miller. He's been suspended 2 games for spitting at Drew Doughty. So the Rangers coming off snapping their 4-game losing streak with a 5-2 win at home over Los Angeles. Flyers coming off their 3rd straight loss, 7-0 at the Devils on Saturday. They've been outscored 16-4 over their 3 losses. I'm excited. I still think I'm going to cash their under 73.5 points this year. It's going to be tight. I still think I will. So Nugora says Flyers players tuned out Torts long ago. I thought that happened, and I said that was going to happen when they lost 19 to 23 games. But then they came back with some wins. Slatsy says, without Konechny, Flyers offense is awful. Rangers have shut out Flyers in the last 2 of 3 games. Sammy Comer looking at a Knicks trifecta. We're going to talk about that. I did, Justin McAfee. I did play it. It was the first player prop I played in 2 years. I felt like I had to. Okay, so with all that being said, I just don't find the Rangers that appealing here as a big favorite. Especially with the Flyers coming off the 7-0 loss, an embarrassing loss. And the Rangers with all this changeover. If you want to bet the Rangers, I wouldn't stand in your way. But I just don't want them here. And I expect to fade the Rangers tomorrow night. To what extent, I don't know. And I do have to think on it a little more because I know everyone's going to be so excited about Patrick Kane being in the lineup. All right, let's move on. Next up for us, and there's the DC Cappers action. Excellent work, DC Capper. Mike M says, no one's harder on the Flyers than me, but a team in turnover and rebuilding with younger players doesn't tune out the first coach with Torts pedigree this soon. I'm not sure if, I think they sent us the message that they weren't tuning him out when they came back after losing 19 to 23 and put together a nice little winning streak and played well. So, Markel saying under Flyers. I think that's being missed, Markel. You had the chance to move on that at 6.5. It's now at 6. There's Dan Kelly in the house. So let's move on. Let's move on to the next spot on the board, which I did fire at. 2 different spots. Toronto Maple Leafs, 37-15-8, 14-9-4 on the road at the Edmonton Oilers, 32-21-8, 14-12-5 at home. Rogers Place in Edmonton, Alberta. So both these teams have done a great job at the trade deadline. I did not want Edmonton to make a move on Karlsson. The last thing we're doing if you have Edmonton Oilers futures is going, well, how can we make this power play stronger? You need size and toughness in a stay-at-home defenseman, and they got all of that from Matthias Ekholm. Tyson Barrie in the first-round pick, I've heard some cappers talk about how Barrie was great in the room and shit like that, and I don't believe it. I don't believe it for a second. We all know that Joe Sakic had the best group of young defensemen in the NHL, And the first move he made was to get Barry out of the room. So I do not believe that Tyson Barrie is a big part of the room. I think Mattias Ekholm is a spectacular pickup for the Oilers. And he's not going to be in the lineup tonight. We don't expect. But I love it. I love it for the Oilers. They're coming off their second straight loss, 3-2 at home to the Bruins. Now, the Leafs picked up Luke Schenn and Eric Gustafsson. They also already picked up Jake McCabe. I think this is great for the Leafs, especially Luke Schenn, who I think is extremely valuable. In saying that, they're now working 3 new defensemen in the lineup. Jake McCabe will be in there tonight, but Gustafsson and Luke Schenn won't, is what we expect. There's Rodney Barton in the house. Stimmy's on the Maple Leafs and the over 6.5. Rem Mo says that, and Ekholm will help the PK as well. There's Colorado Bull in the house. Nice to see you. Sacred Heart -2 and Presbyterian +6. Thank you for sharing that with us. Dan Bonner, off to work today. First thing we did, tune into the bag. We love you, Dan Bonner. And Rem Mo says that Ekholm will be in, according to, wow, that's awesome. That's huge. I did not expect that at all. That's a big turn of events. Huge for the Oilers. So I moved on the Oilers. I think that the Leafs are going to have a little bit of difficulty working these defensemen in the lineup right away. I think there's a lot of value on the Oilers at home as a dog. We also see the Oilers step up against the better hockey teams. Generally, that happens on the road, not at home. But now we have the Oilers on a 2-game losing streak. Slatsy says Oilers still haven't solved their goaltending problems, which is crazy. Skinner and Campbell, good luck with that. Look, I get it. Look, they're a team with some flaws, but they also have a huge upside, I believe. And I like them a lot here. So let's take a look at the line history. I've moved on the Oilers in 2 different ways. I've moved on them first period, and I've moved on them full game. Let's take a look at what we're dealing with right now. Oilers opened up at +107. They were at +120 at 1:52 in the morning at Pinnacle. They're now at +111. And total-wise, this opened up at 6.5 and has moved. It got up to -134 to the over, -131. They're now showing the 7s, -130 to the under. And Sky Dragon says the Rangers creating a fantasy team just to get drilled by Carolina in the second round. And he laughs. He laughs his ass off at that. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun series. And Sky Dragon agreeing with the Edmonton look. So I moved on Edmonton. So I figured, okay, I want Edmonton and I want to make money. I was sitting there last night and I was like, okay, what's the best way of doing this? And I was like, okay, Oilers -1. At that point, the +110 money line. And then there was the +215 on the -1.5, and that worked out to, I believe, like a +165. I was like, no, I want the Oilers right off the hop. I want the Oilers full game +110, and I want the Oilers first period of +100. It's a double up for me, and I like it quite a bit. Now, Toronto is playing good hockey, but I think there's going to be a couple bumps along the way as they work these defensemen into this unit, and I do not know if Gustafsson and Luke Schenn will be available, and I expect that they won't. Luke Schenn may, but I don't think Gustafsson is. We'd love to have more information on that. So Rocco says, yes, sir, Sam, my favorite spot. They Leafs score on the road heavy, especially lately, and the Oilers will be desperate today, and the Leafs give up more on the road. I do not know how the Leafs offense will succeed when you bring in these new defensemen right off the hop. So Evander Kane out with an upper body injury. Oilers coming off 2 straight losses, 3-2 at home to the Bruins. I like it. And look, I'm on the Oilers. Oilers first period at +100. Oilers full game at +110. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Arizona Coyotes 20-30-9. 7-20-7 on the road at the Dallas Stars. 31-16-13. 15-8-8 at home at American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. Connor Ingram and Jake Ottinger in net. Dan Bonner says, hard for me to see how this game doesn't hit the over. It's not hard for me, in all honesty. I do not think that the Leafs offense will be very strong tonight. I really don't. Against an angry Oilers team, and with the Leafs bringing in all these new defensemen, so much so that you know what, Jose, can we drop back to that last title for the Oilers game? Let's just go to that team total and see if there is any value not believing in the Leafs offense here tonight. There's no value. The under 3 you can get at a big price. That'd be the only way to really look at it. I'm not going to triple up here, but I would have interest, a little bit of interest in that Oilers team total under 3. But I guess you just can't trust the goaltending in Edmonton enough. Maybe that's valid. So I guess I stay off. But, I'll put it there. Last thing I want is this triple up, but Leafs team total under 3 would be a big plus price. What is that plus price anyways? Let's find that out too to see if it's exciting enough. So it's plus 200 on the under 2.5, minus 125 on the under 3.5. So minus 125 plus 200 is a plus 133. I don't know if that's quite enough risk reward for me, but I don't dislike it. So I'll look on that a little more. JP just says, I'm tempted on Arizona puck line. When's the last time Dallas covered the puck line? Okay, let's move on now. Finally, let's move on. 8:30 p.m. Eastern, Arizona Coyotes, Dallas Stars. So Ingram at Ottinger. Ingram 5-12-4, 3.30 goals against average, 908 save percentage, 1 shutout. Ottinger 24-8-10, 2.30 goals against average, 923 save percentage, 4 shutouts. I truly, right now, at least for the last year, for the last 12 months, I've not felt the pressure to succeed the way I do today. I feel that. I'm staring up at the ceiling at night. I'm like, I've got to, got to turn this around. We just had a spectacular 2022. I know you're not just going to win continuously for the rest of your career, but I feel it. Turning the page to March 1st, I feel it, and I'm focused, and I've succeeded in situations like this throughout my life. I need to succeed right here. Lee Davis says, is Ingram going to bounce back today? Arizona 4-2-4 over their past 10, 20% power play, 80% penalty killing. Dallas 3-3-4, 8.6% power play, 79.2% penalty killing. For those of you studying the Dallas Stars and looking for edges, obviously they've been terrible. They're playing their worst hockey of the year. They've lost 6 of 7. They fell 5-4 in overtime at home to the Canucks on Monday. And you can see exactly what's wrong. It's that first line. I've never seen this first line struggle before since they were put together. And I'd be very curious for the people watching the Stars very closely as to answers for why this is happening. Jason Robertson, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points in 5 games. He's a -4 over those 5 games. Joe Pavelski, little Joe, is he finally ready for the rocking chair? No goals, 3 assists in his last 9 games. He's a -2. Rupi Hintz has 2 goals, no assists in his last 5 games, -3. Now, you have a very angry Dallas Stars team. When you play Arizona, you want to have a hockey team that's feeling great about themselves, that's winning games and feeling great about themselves. You're not getting that here because Dallas is angry. Dallas opening up at -366. They're right now -371 at Pinnacle. Totals wise, it's opened up at 5.5 and it's moved to a 6. Dan Bonner says Dallas dropping 6 of their last 7. Dallas needs this win. They're slowly giving first in the Central back, but how can you trust this team? I think you put it perfectly. Here. The Coyotes are on the second half of back-to-back after defeating the Blackhawks 4-1 at home last night. Chikrin and Bukestad are out of the lineup so they can be traded. Bukestad's actually pretty solid defensively. As a 6'6" center, you want him to play bigger than he is because he's a toothpick. He's a twig, but he can win face-offs, and he's got a plus number beside him. That's hard to do with Arizona. With saying all that, I do not find any value here. I'm not going to, catch a falling sword and say this first line is going to start scoring. Bled's W in the house. Lee Davis has 5 straight home losses for Dallas. I have no interest in this game, and I have a ton of action in NHL tonight. So let's move past Coyotes, Dallas Stars. We want to start NBA in 15 minutes, and we have 3 games left in NHL. So let's move on in NHL, and I'm firing at all 3 of these hockey games. First off, 9 p.m. Eastern, New Jersey Devils, 39-15-5, 21-4-3 on the road at Colorado Avalanche, 34-19-5, 16-9-4 at home, Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado. While I think the New Jersey Devils are a very good hockey team, I said that they will regress to the mean on the road. I truly believe that. I kept telling you guys that I think that they're going to be buy-in at home, where their record is not as good. They were 21-3-3 before we faded them at St. Louis. and they lost 4-2 at St. Louis to go 21-4-3. I believe that we're ahead of the curve fading the New Jersey Devils on the road, and we're going to get great prices. This, to me, even with Cale Makar out of the lineup, is a shockingly incredible price on the Avalanche. I moved on the Avalanche -1 at +126, and I moved on the Avalanche team total over 3 at -130. We're at Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado for this one. Vitek Vanacek and Alexander Georgiev are listed. Georgiev is putting together a very strong season all of a sudden. 26, 12, and 4, 2.57 goals against average, 922, save percentage, 3 shutouts. Just make sure something is, we're good to go here. Okay. And then Vanacek's been great all year, but he's starting to come back to earth. 2.37 goals against average, just a 913 save percentage. To put a comparison to that, that's the same as Stuart Skinner on the Oilers, and we don't trust their goaltending. New Jersey 7-2-1 over their past 10, 19.2% power play, 84.6% penalty killing. Colorado 7-1-2, 14.3% power play, 82.8% of penalty killing. Sammy's saying the Avs -1 at +139 on Penny. Thank you, DC Capper. It's just tough, man. It hurts when the importance of success is, so crucial to your life, and you don't get it to start out a year. It's tough, but there's lots of time to turn it around. And you guys all saw 10 straight winning months. So, February through November, profitable every single month. So I got a little too confident, maybe. I don't know. But let's go back to this spot here and see what we are dealing with for a line movement situation. I would like to see where actually +195. I think I got a +185 with my -1.5. So maybe there's been a little bit of a move towards the Devils. Bleds W says, what about first period -0.5 against Colorado? We'll talk about the ins and outs. But for me, I'll explain why I won all 60 minutes with Colorado here. And I don't want to get cute. I don't dislike it, but I don't want to get cute. First off, the line is moving slightly back towards the Devils here. There's been a 6-cent move since 9:12 a.m. So Colorado opened up -121. They're now at -121. That's a phenomenal number to get on Colorado. This total opened up at 6. It's dropped to 5.5. Let's move over to the ins and outs here. Timo Meier's not played since February 8th due to the upper body injury. It's not considered a huge, severe injury. He's with the Devils. He flew to Colorado with the Devils yesterday. It's unclear if he's going to make his debut tonight. The Devils coming off their second straight win, 7-0 at home over the Flyers on Saturday. The Avalanche coming off their 6th straight win, 3-0 at home over Vegas. This is the finale of a short 3-game homestand in which they've looked very good. They beat Calgary 4-1 on Saturday. Then they beat Vegas 3-0 on Monday. And they've scored at least 3 goals in 8 straight games. And you're going to give me that team total over 3? Just 3 at -130? I mean, that's a fantastic spot to be in. Slatsy says, like it, Jimmy on Avs Moneyline will probably join you on the team total. Devils 2-12-1 last 15 at Colorado. Paper Chaser looking at the Avs team total over 3.5. Alfred says, can't fade the Avs now. Dan Ponder says, love the Avs too from the view of the Devils coming off a game where they dropped a touchdown on Philly. Definite regression spot here. And Ramos, that was a great pep talk that Pistol Pete gave me many, many years ago. So, Lee Davis says, I may be on the wrong side here. You guys, I just think that there's enormous value on Colorado because of how great the Devils have been on the road. And I've already told you what I feel about their record on the road. Yes, they're a very good hockey team, but not as good as they are. So with all that being said, and it's moved to -135. That's what I'd like to see. I still have -130 right now, and I'm signed in. But look, there's not much more to say. The Devil, to get a team that's won 6 straight games, that's finishing off a 3-game homestand, which they've won the first 2 and have a chance to sweep the homestand. To get them at this price is wonderful, and I'm going to take it. And to get the team total over 3 at the price it is wonderful as well. So let's roll on. Big day for Razor Sharp picks yesterday. He'll be joining me on Saturday. And don't forget, he's got a live stream Friday night, a real fun one. Denver Nuggets being at home. What is it? I think it's Grizzlies Nuggets. What a big game that is. And that's a start. That's a late Friday night start for the boys. So that show starts 9:45 p.m. Eastern on Friday night. So far, Razor Sharp Picks has locked in Bridges over 1.5 threes at minus 145. So Razor Sharp Picks rolling there. So let's move on. I've doubled up on Colorado minus 1 plus 126. Avalanche team total over 3 at minus 130. Let's move on to 10 p.m. Eastern. And there's one thing, look, I was wrong about some things this year, and I was right about some things this year. I was very right about the Washington Capitals, and I don't care that the Ducks just beat them in Washington. I don't care. They're very upset here. Now they've taken off Gustafsson and Dmitry Orlov from this defensive core. Look, I don't care that there could be revenge here. It looks like the market is, let's see, I guess it moved from the beginning towards the Ducks. It's come back. So there's been a 9-cent move towards Washington. Washington now at minus 185. I got the Ducks at plus 160. Right now at Bet 365. Did they move it to plus 165? They did. They moved it to 165 at 9:55 this morning. Look, I don't care. I don't care that this is someone could say this is a Washington spot. Gibson is starting to play very well. He's starting to win games on his own. Kemper is falling off, and he's going to fall off even more without the most trusted defenseman on the Capitals not with him in the lineup. Capitals are 3-7-0 over the past 10, 25% power play, 86.2%. Penalty killing. I'm going to cash they're under 94.5 points. I'm going to cash they're not making the playoffs, and it's going to help me very much. But I have to wait for that money to come in. Anaheim 4-5-1 over their past 10, 14.3% power play, 71.4% penalty killing. Capitals coming up their 7th loss in 8 games, 7-4 at Buffalo on Sunday to begin this 4-game trip. After tonight's game, they have 2 days off before playing in San Jose on Saturday. They probably are going to go out tonight in LA. They've traded Eric Gustafsson, Dmitry Orlov, and Garnet Hathaway over the last few days. That's a ton of toughness. They did receive Rasmus Sundin back in the Gustafsson trade, but I don't think he'll be ready to suit up tonight. The Ducks are playing their best hockey of the season. They come in off their 3rd straight win, 4-2 at home over Chicago on Monday. They just won 4-2 6 days ago in Washington. They were outshot 43-20 in that one. Gibson stood on his head. Gibson could stand on his head here today. And don't forget, Gustafsson in that game played 24 minutes and 56 seconds. Played 25 minutes of that game, and he's no longer on that hockey team with Orlov. I believe that this is the time to put your foot on the throat of the Washington Capitals. And at this plus 160, I think there's a ton of value doing it. Gifted Cartel is on the under 6.5. Beautiful. Look at that. Razor Sharp News with his breaking news. Instead of dropping the kids off at the parents at 1 p.m., it's now 11 a.m. I'll be on even earlier Saturday. I love that. Razor, it's going to be so much fun, dude. I'm very, very excited about it. We have a huge snowstorm coming here on Friday, so I don't know if I'm going to have the spot to myself anymore, but we'll find out. All right, so look, I'm on the Ducks at plus 160, and I'm confident. Let's move on to the final game on the board before we get into NBA. Carolina Hurricane. This was my last edition as well. Carolina Hurricane 39-11-8, 18-4-6 on the road at the Vegas Golden Knights, 35-19-6, 18-13-1 at home. We're at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Let's go into the line history for this one here. This one opened up with the Hurricanes at minus 134. They're now minus 140, a 6-cent move towards them. Totals-wise, this opened up at 5.5 and has moved to 6. Frederik Andersen is listed. I'm not sure if he's going to be in net. I know that Billy Friedrich would let us know who will be in net. Andersen, Ranta. The goaltending, I think, will be a problem for Carolina in the playoffs. Aiden Hill will be in net for Vegas. They have injuries to Logan Thompson. They have injuries to Brissois. Carolina 8-2-0 over their past 10, 25% power play, 90.6% penalty killing. Vegas 6-1-3, 4.5% power play. We've been harping on that quite a bit. I do not think this team will win the Pacific Division, but the Oilers need to win some hockey games now to make sure that I get the cash that I'm hoping for. Carolina had their 5-game winning streak snapped in a surprise 3-2 loss at home to Anaheim on Saturday. I love that. I love that happened. That's kind of what pushed me to backing Carolina. The Golden Knights coming off their second straight loss, 3-0 Colorado on Monday. They've lost 3 of 4. I just don't see this team turning it around. I went over their lineup. Even Chandler Stevenson's moved down to the third line center. I mean, I'd be playing him 22 minutes a game on the first line. Their second line's not nearly as strong as we remember. They're just not nearly as tough without Mark Stone. I moved on the Hurricanes -1 at +117. I got the money line at -140 and the puck line at +180. I just expect the Knights to keep losing, and I think that if we look at what Carolina's done on the road, 18-4-6, I just expect it to continue. And getting a plus number on the -1 line, getting them after a loss. North Ender says Canes need to make a move. They're falling behind in the arms race. Yeah, I agree. I'm looking forward to see what they do with Puljujarvi. He's got some size. They seem to like these projects and do quite well with them. And Rod Brindamore is the right coach, for a power forward. So that's where we stand. Let's review all NHL and let's head to NBA right now. But let's review all of our NHL actions. Let me move this over here and let Daryl know that we are ready for him. Okay, let's review all action in NHL. 6 bets on the board. No additions for me except a possibility on that Leafs team total under 3 at plus money. I'm on the Oilers first period at plus 100 and the Oilers full game at plus 110. And Wildhound says, I'll be in the chat throughout the day. What time will be depends on when I get to the track. Looking forward to showing Pub Sports Radio to UK handicappers at the racecourse. We love that, Wildhound. Respect. So then I am on the Avalanche -1 at plus 126 and the Avalanche team total over 3 at -130. I'm on the Ducks money line at plus 160 and the Hurricanes -1 at plus 117. Those are my 6 spots in NHL, and I'm very excited to move on to NBA. We have a great group to rock NBA here today. We don't get many opportunities to work with our guy LJ from H-Town, and we've been very excited working him into the rotation, and he will be joining us. Also, we'll have It's Durrell coming to us from Los Angeles, California. We haven't seen him since the All-Star break, so it's going to be great to be rolling with It's Durrell once again. So let's get to work in NBA with this great group, starting off from Houston, Texas. We've had him for 3 straight Wednesdays, and he's been very good. Please welcome our guy, LJ from H-Town.
Pub Sports Radio's the crew, that's a fact. We all about bread, making bank accounts fat. Who the hell is that? LJ from the H, I stack green like Boston. Shout out to Nasty Nate from down south, where we ride on slab. 420 highway smoking with that boy Dabby Cab. Swing by Dallas with them Cowboy fans so we can smoke out J Money, cause you know that's our mans. Us against the bookies, put money in our pockets. Fly out to Vegas, meet up with Ski Profit. Hit the sports books, we got money to stack. Can't forget them college picks with that boy Connor Mack.
LJ, what's good, my man?
What's going on, Jimmy? So pleasure to be with you today. Hey, that rap was kind of good. I wonder who that was, Jimmy. Let me know who that was.
I get to hang with that guy in San Antonio as well. In less than a month at Pubapalooza 2, LJ will be rolling with us. I love it. Looking forward to work with you on this card and looking forward for you to work with our next guest. We haven't seen him since the All-Star break. It's so nice to have him back in action. Hoping to have him down with us in San Antonio. Please welcome from Los Angeles, California, Daryl Rice.
You ready for this? Here's my analysis. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit. So yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
Daryl, what's good?
Yo, what is good, man? Look, hey, it's a full house today. Got my man Jay, got my other man LJ. It's time to roll, man. It's time to roll. So happy to be back. It's been a minute, Jimmy. It's been a minute. I'm glad LJ has held it down and probably been killing it, man, doing a better job than me over this NBA season. But It's always good to be with y'all, man. Always good to be with y'all. And peace and love to everybody in the chat, man. I'm telling you, we can win today. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Let's get right to work. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern. Phoenix Suns, 33-29, 12-19 on the road at the Charlotte Hornets, 20-43, 11-18 at home at Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. Phoenix 3-2 over their past 5, playing at a pace at 98.70 possessions a game. And what will this pace look like with 13-time NBA All-Star, 2-time Finals MVP Kevin Durant on the floor, making his debut this evening? That's nice. We can't say the same thing about TJ Warren, who's come with them. Doesn't look like TJ Warren going to be seeing the floor here on this squad, sadly. So he's nonplussed about not seeing the floor the last couple games, and it doesn't look like we'll be seeing him anymore here. I got this been screwing me. Let me just move over here and see if I can get these lines up. Having a problem here with it, but I will go into the cash flow, and then we'll set a table with the market movement. I don't know why it's happening for me here. Maybe I should just try a new one, but here we go. Cash flow wise in Suns Hornets, 7,515 tickets in, 64% of the tickets on the Suns and 86% of the cash, 35% of the tickets and 53% of the cash is on the under. I'll give you the line history here once that site it's been a problem for 24 hours. Charlotte 5-0 over their past 5. They've been playing pace in the NBA, 105.20. How will that change now that LaMelo Ball is out with the fractured right ankle for the rest of the season? Sky Dragon says Charlotte plus 10, easy play.
Easy
play. All right. Renald Brown says, are you out of Texas? I'm about to move from the city of brotherly love, Philly, to the Woodlands in Texas. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Wow. Okay, he's up north. That's
there.
North Houston. Yeah, that's up north.
Yeah.
Respect. Yeah, man. You got a great crew if you make that move, my man. And Sky Dragon says Charlotte plus 10. And Lee Davis says highest current edge is Charlotte. Troy Torrance says I'm with Sky Dragon. I'm looking towards the Hornets. Sammy Comer says whole world thinks Suns is free money tonight with KD back and Melo back. Melo gone. I'll go the other way and take Charlotte. So Suns coming off their second loss in 3 games, 104-101 at Milwaukee on Sunday. Hornets coming off their 5th straight win, 117-106 at home over the Pistons. And Dennis Smith Jr. Will now be the starting point guard, we expect, for the Hornets. He had 7 assists on Monday night. And they're going to have to replace LaMelo's 23.3 points per game. Let's get rolling and started here. We'll start with you, LJ from H-Town. Suns, Hornets, how you getting paid?
Yeah, man, this is going to be interesting. KD making his debut with the Suns. The Suns, they don't play well in this spot versus the East. They're only 4-9 on the road versus the East, and they're only 1-7 versus this division. But they are 5-3 in their last 8 games on the road, 9-5 ATS in their last 14 in the first half. So if I am going to attack this game, I'm going to attack it early because you just mentioned Charlotte has been playing well. They were 7-3-1 straight up in their last 11 first quarters. They've won 5 in a row, like you just mentioned, 6-4-1 straight up in the first half. But the fact that LaMelo is gone now, you're missing 24 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists. That's a lot of production that you're missing from the offense now. And he was cashing his over 3.5 3-pointers, 8 out of the last 11 games. So it's a lot going to be taken away with that gone. And I can't trust the fact that they'll be a productive team with him gone. But I also is scared of this number 10 because I got to see KD with the Suns first before I can make a legitimate financial investment with them. So all that said, Jimmy, I'm leaning towards taking the Hornets team total under 109.5 because the Suns have held the opponent the last 6 road games to an average of 105 points. And the Suns are 6-1 straight up in their last 7 versus the Hornets. But I just got to see KD with them first, man, before I make a legitimate decision with them. So I'm leaning towards the team total under, but for right now, we're going to talk it out. But right now, I'm just going to stay pat and pass.
The site that I've been using is down right now for odds. We have to go back to our old site, which means we're going to be using Bet365 openers and closers. Bet365 opened this up at 12:02 a.m. as a 10.6 Suns favorites on the road. That moved to 10.5 at 6:42 a.m. It's come back to 10 at 8:32 a.m. Totals wise, this opened up. It's not gonna. Oh, sorry. What the hell? This is not. This is not good. Okay, I'm gonna. So totals wise, this opened up at 230.5. We now have it at 229, sitting at 229. So that is where we stand. Let's hear what Durrell has to say. Durrell, take it away for us. KD's debut in the Suns uniform.
This is a hurry up and wait for me. Really. If you look at the last 5 games for the Hornets, do you know where they are smacking people at besides winning these games? Is the first quarter. They are smacking teams in the first quarter convincingly. Only tied with the San Antonio Spurs, 32-32 apiece. Right. But other than that, you've got a large enough spread. I would love to see this number get to 4 in the first quarter because I would probably be all on Charlotte +4 in the first quarter. They're just scoring. And there's 2 ways we can go about this. Do we use the star player theory here? And I think we have to. Mm-hmm. There's a minutes restriction for KD. We know that D-Book plays the entire first quarter, right? Mm-hmm. And we know that Charlotte's already kind of used to this kind of pace. They can go up and down as well. So if you're telling me a team that's trying to implement a star player in right now will mess up the chemistry, this is probably the perfect example of it happening. The only thing that gives me cause for pause is the fact that, yes, Melo is out. He's out. They made those adjustments, but you've been getting scoring from Rozier. Kelly Oubre has kind of wheezed himself back into the situation. He's playing good. And Gordon Hayward's making those pocket shots that he's used to making. So they're still scoring there, right? Melo is a huge loss. I get that. But them being able to not even keep it close in the first, where I think the game will get away from them is later on, once things have kind of flattened out and once things have kind of gotten, once schemes and games or certain sets have ran. But right at the very beginning, a team that's trying to bring KD in and let him cook versus a team that is smacking people in the first quarter, give me Charlotte in the first quarter. Just going to wait on this, see what this line does, but I'm really, really confident in that play.
Yeah, it was the first thing I looked at, too. I looked at that first quarter, and it was 3, and I was like,
Yeah, it's at 3.5 now. If it gets to 4, then I'm like, okay, maybe so. We saw this with Dallas yesterday. I was mad at that first quarter against the Pacers. They let Halliburton run coast to coast and score. We saw that with the Lakers possibly being able to cover that first quarter, right? What happened? Last-minute shot at the buzzer. Cleans that out. So we're seeing these things to where it's coming down to the last second, and it's just, it's ruining covers, whether by the hook or whatever. So I just want to see if I can get to 4 on this. If it can get to 4, I would probably be on Charlotte first quarter.
Yeah, it's at 3.5 now. You're right. It is moved a half point. Yeah, I get it. I get even the first quarter, first half look. The problem is what Alfred's saying, and that we're all concerned about. It says they were really bad before Melo came back. Unfortunately, I've watched every game this year.
Mm-hmm.
Res Mob says KD's a savant. Says the star theory won't play out this time.
Yeah, but and Res Mob is right. Mm-hmm. This is something where star player theories are going to either carry a lot of weight or not as much. And what I do like about Kevin is that he's been sitting on the sidelines, sitting on the bench rather, just kind of studying how these guys are playing. But it's another thing to get out there and actually perform, right? Mm-hmm. So you give it a game. Maybe that star player theory is it may take a star more than one game to kind of get implemented. Maybe all KD needs is maybe a half a game, maybe first 2 quarters, and then he got it, right? But that first quarter, man, it seems like a good spot.
Yeah, I agree. And I share the same concerns. Billy Briz, who will be with us tomorrow, says LaMelo was nearly averaging a triple-double this month. Mm-hmm. Says minus 8.1 point difference with him off of the floor. And he says Hornets team total under.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I think there's enough differencing of opinion. I'll tell you what, there's no way I'm betting the Suns. Mm-hmm. And I know that goes against what some of the cappers in the chat are saying, but this is a Charlotte or no bet. And we'll see if I have enough action on the other games. But and Mike, I'm saying Charlotte first quarter 4-0 as dogs, 6-0 first half, says grabbing them both. That was sort of my plan. Coming in was first quarter, first half, but I wanted to talk it out, and I guess I got a little bit of cold feet. Bang Bang says KD will be fine. He will fit right in. So no movement for us in Suns Hornets. So let's move on. Possible first quarter look from Durrell, and he'll tweet that out if he moves on it. Let's move on to Bulls Pistons. We'll start with Durrell on this one. We'll keep flipping back and forth with you guys as to who goes first. Chicago Bulls, 28-33, 10-20 on the road at the Detroit Pistons, 15-47, 8-22 at home. We're at Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan. Let's go over to the line history here. We have the Pistons opening up at midnight at plus 5.5. Within an hour, they went to 6, dropped to 5.5, and are back at 6. This is at Bet 365. Totals wise, this opened up at 227 and has dropped all the way down to 222. A 5-point move to the under in this one. And it's a shocking number at 227. If you look at the pace these teams are playing with, Chicago 2-3 over their past 5, playing at a pace of 95.1 possessions a game. Detroit 0-5, playing at a pace of 99.0 possessions a game. Take a look at the cash flow for this one. We have 3,133 tickets in. Not a lot of tickets on this game. 62% of the tickets and 99% of the cash on the Bulls, but the market not moving towards them. 60% of tickets and 91% cash on the under, and the market moving briskly towards that under. Bulls on the second half of back-to-back after having their modest 2-game winning streak snapped in a 104-98 loss at the Raptors last night. Fortunately, I was on the Raptors first quarter, not on them full game. That was very bothersome. They committed 20 turnovers, and they got dominated on the glass. This is a new-look Raptors team with Podol at center, and we are winning all the board battles. Chicago had 6 offensive rebounds in the entire game compared to Toronto's 19. Vooch had 23. Zach LaVine was held to 17. DeRozan held to 13. And they got out-rebounded 47-35. Pistons coming off their 5th straight loss, 117-106 at Charlotte on Monday. They have lost to Chicago now 13 straight times. Most recently, they lost in Paris. Detroit was down 4 starters in that loss to Charlotte. Bogdanovich, Duran, Isaiah Stewart all out, and Ivy missed the game due to personal reasons. And Isaiah Livers didn't play in the second half due to an ankle sprain. Bogdanovich and Ivy are expected to be in. Duran and Stewart will sit out, and Livers is still doubtful. Wiseman, 23-7. Hamidou Diallo, 23. Bagley's looking good. He had 21-18 against Toronto, then 21-12. Against Charlotte. Take it away for us here, Durrell. Bulls, Pistons.
Hey man, I must be on this show way too much. LJ, you ready for this analysis?
I'm right with you. I'm waiting. I'm right with you.
Jimmy, are you ready for this analysis?
I'm getting ready.
Are you sure? Just look around.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right, give me Bulls first quarter minus. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
You ready for this? Here's my analysis. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit. So yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
Res Mob already on the Bulls first quarter. Troy Torrance says Bulls first quarter. Pistons live bet. Markel says he's tailing. Drill, take it away. Why do you like it so much?
Yeah. Okay. So first off, I was going to use the full game, and I still might get there. But what scared me off a little bit is that the last 2 games that the Bulls have played against the Pistons, that line closed at 7.5. It closed at 7.5, and we're getting a 6 here with the Bulls team that just pretty much has Detroit figured out. I mean, they put up almost $140 against them first game or second game. It just to me, 132-118. That was on New Year's Eve, right, or December 30th, and then 126-108. The first quarter in the 132 game, 25-33. The first quarter in the first game they played, 31-24. I'm telling you right now, I already talked about this yesterday. The Bulls have moved up to first in the league in first quarter ATS. Right? They're that squad now that's doing it. So they come in and play Detroit, who is on an abysmal losing streak right now. You got a game that you lost against Toronto that you were kind of in. You let that game get away. This is a game you're going to need to get back. Bulls are going to come out on fire in the first quarter, and I like the number. If you got the 1.5, man, so I'm happy for it. But this line's going to probably go up to 6.5 or so. So if you like it early, jump on it now. I got it at -2. Give me that. Might just take – this could be a Bulls trifecta here. This really could. This could be a Bulls trifecta here, just the way that they're playing. So for right now, Bulls first quarter -2, already stepped on that official play.
Bulls first quarter. Now we can get, it says here that FanDuel has it at -1.5 at -112. That seems pretty cheap to get the half point off. Do you want the -1.5 at -112 or the -2 at -105?
Let's do it so I won't get the push. 1.5. I like that. I got it at -2 on my local. My local's going to always try to move it up a hook. So yeah, let's do it. -1.5. I like that. If you could get the 1.5, get it.
Yeah, I get it. I completely get the look. The Bulls shot the ball well. I mean, they had no excuse to lose the game other than they could not rebound with the Raptors. Take it away here, LJ. Daryl moving on the Bulls first quarter -1.5, -112. What's your look here?
Hey, I'm riding with my man Daryl. He said it pretty much everything I was going to say, but I'll just throw the stats out there just so everybody will know. 10-4-1 ATS in the last 15 in the first quarter. 9-3 straight up in the last 12 in the first quarter on the road versus the East. 9-1 ATS in the last 10 on the road. The only 3 losses they had was Boston, the Sixers, and the Raptors. Those 3 teams played well in the first quarter. So I'm not mad at them not winning that. But for as ATS, they're right on it. So Bulls first quarter is an easy cap. And I also wouldn't be mad at the under as well. I'm not scared of it. It is 222, and a half. But Bulls, 9 out of the last 10 games have gone under. 5 out of the last 5 games on the road versus the Pistons has gone under. 8 of the last 10 games in this matchup has gone under. The Bulls are first in points allowed in the last 10 games. Detroit has gone under in 9 of their last 12. So Bulls first quarter for me too, Jimmy, and you might as well make it official for me. I'm on the under as well, 222.
Are you not concerned that it's dropped too many points at this point? No,
because Detroit, I don't believe they can score.
They can't score.
Yeah, I don't believe they can score it. They're 1-7-1 ATS in division games, averaging 16-point loss in those games. So I'm not concerned about it. I think the Bulls will step on them early and often. And like Daryl just said, this could be a trifecta. But I'm just going to put my money where we can cash the best, and that's the first quarter.
It's dropped to 221.5 at BetMGM and Betway. We're using different books for our market analysis here today just because the site we usually use is down. 888 Sport, that's up here in Canada, they're offering the 222.5. So we'll give you that, LJ.
Okay.
So LJ's on the under 222.5 at -110 here. And Remo says 5.5 full game. Tell me you didn't just say that. Says, as a Bulls fan, don't trust this team full game, but I have to take the first quarter here, especially off a loss. Also, Detroit under 26.5 for 25.5 team total for first quarter. Pistons 90.2 offensive rating first quarter, the last 7 games. Gerald Jones says cash Bulls under yesterday. Back to the well today, got under 224.5 at BetMGM this morning. Great job, because that's down to 221.5 right now at BetMGM. All right, I'm going to join you guys here. You know, I can understand the concerns we'll have when we're on a similar look, but it just makes sense. So I'm not going to show fear. And, you know, after the last couple spots, we've all been on the same one. We've lost, and you're not going to lose them all.
Right.
That just doesn't make sense. So I'm not going to let the fear that we're all in the same spot consume me. There's Nutflush Allen in the house. By the way, that Nuggets first half team total over was so goddamn easy yesterday. And you know, it's the nut flush way of capping there against the Rockets and the Spurs. So although the Spurs are changing, I cashed the under in full game easily in the Spurs game. But that first half team total under or over, was me just thinking about nut flush. And it's so important working together, winning together.
I have a great trend about the Spurs, Jimmy, if y'all just want to know this. Yeah. Any team that plays the Spurs, you fade them after they play them because they're a 5-14 straight up after they play the Spurs. So any team that plays the Spurs, that next game, Fade them on the ATS because of that.
Interesting. Even if they lose to the Spurs?
Yeah, because it says any team that plays the previous game, the Spurs, that next game, they are 5-14 straight up. Right.
Wow.
Piker says, so why are the Sharps on Detroit then? 38% of the tickets on Detroit. The number falls from 6. Why? I do not think the Sharps are on Detroit. I tell you this, from my reading in that, analyzing the market, I think the books are on Detroit. Now you can say, well, that means it's sharp, and that's totally valid. But here, 38% of the tickets and 1% of the cash on Detroit. That just tells me the books think Detroit's live. That does not tell me that they're. And then you could say, oh, the books are sharps, and that's totally a valid thing. But I do not see sharp, or I do not think that there's syndicates or big bets coming in on Detroit at plus 6.
Detroit, right?
I just think the books really like the spot.
Mm-hmm.
That's how
that makes sense, Jimmy. Because like I said, this line should be a lot larger, and the book should open it up higher, especially after the last 2 games. And you're coming in a 1.5 lower. So we'll see where it closes. But yeah, 7.5 is where it closed last 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
So be careful of this.
And Johnny K says tough to go against the bookie. That's why I think, I get that, Johnny K. And I get what Piker is intimating. All right, let's move on here. We have both our cappers on Bulls first quarter -1.5, and then we have LJ on the under 222.5. Troy Torrance says Bulls are 1-7 straight up as road favorites. That's embarrassing. Some solutions is after halftime the game starts. All right, let's move on. Next spot on the board for 7:30 p.m. Eastern. This one's going to be fun. I'm keeping a very close eye on the Celtics and the Knicks because we have our live stream Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, and that is we're going to see whether the Celtics have something for the Knicks after the loss that they were just fed. Cleveland at Boston, TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Cleveland 2-3 over the past 5, playing at the pace of 96 possessions a game. Boston 3-2, playing at the pace of 97.4 possessions a game. Let's go into the line history here. We have at Bet365. This opened up with the Celtics -6.5. Within an hour, they were -5.5, a 1-point move towards Cleveland. It got back to 6 this morning, and it's dropped another point now. We are now at 5, -5 for Boston. So off the opener, we have a 1.5 move towards the Cleveland Cavaliers. Totals-wise, this opened up at 223, and now we're sitting at 219. It got as low as 218.5 before there was buyback. Cash-wise here, we have 9,629 tickets in. This is the most bet game on the board. It's 50-50 with the tickets, but there is some sharp big bets on the Cavs. 93% of the cash is on the Cavs. 70% of the tickets, 78% of the cash on the over, yet it keeps dropping and dropping and dropping. Cavs snapped their 3-game losing streak with a 118-93 demolishing of the Raptors at home on Sunday. Mitchell went for 35, 8 threes. Cleveland went for 23 and 11 from Jarrett Allen. Garland and Mobley each had 18. And Boston and Cleveland have played twice this year, with the Cavs winning both times in overtime. Celtics coming off having their 3-game winning streak, snapped a 109-94 loss at the Knicks on Monday. Tatum was kicked out in the fourth quarter. The first time he was ejected from an NBA game. The Celtics were terrible from 3, 9 of 42. And Brown missed the game. They were without Jaylen Brown. Missoula says he expects Brown to play, and that's a big deal to have Brown back in the lineup. There's a lot of things that kind of make me think that this is a Celtic spot, but I don't want to go against the sharp action. So let's hear what LJ has to say. Let's get started here. Cavaliers, Celtics.
Yeah, I agree, man. And I have a rule with the Celtics. Everybody knows that I don't bet Celtics games. I don't care who they playing. I don't care how good they're playing. I just can't do it. They're too inconsistent for me when I try to bet them. Now, this game right here is going to be very interesting because they are 13-6 at home versus the East. They're 17-6 in the last 23 games, and they're 13-2 straight up in the last 15 at home, 7-3 in the last 10. So Boston plays well at home. That's their comfortable spot. But I just can't play them because I don't like the inconsistency of how they rely on that three-point shot. They are averaging 16 three-pointers made a game. So if you're not hitting your threes, how else are you going to score when you have Tatum and Brown trying to handle the ball, because Marcus Smart tries to play point. He has to play point because those two are the scorers, but I just don't like the consistency in their offense, man. And that's one of the reasons why I stay off of them. But the Cavs, they're 7-9 on the road versus the East, but they're 8-3 straight up in their last 11. 9-5 ATS their last 13 in the first quarter. But Boston is also good in the first quarter as well. So I just couldn't come to a side, Jimmy. I was leaning towards the under because the Cavs are 10-4 to the under in the last 15. They're number one in points allowed on the road at 108. But Boston, 20-10 to the one over as a home favorite. They're averaging 121 points at home. So I couldn't come to it, man. I mean, Boston is 6-1 straight up in their last 7 versus the Cavs at home. So if y'all have a lean, it may be Boston. But the Cavs offense usually don't show up on the road, and that's why I'm going to stay off of them, even though I believe the Cavs are a good buy-on team, but only at home, just like Boston is comfortable at home. So all that said, Jimmy, I'm going to pass.
I can understand why. This is a tricky one. Piker, who's in Boston, says Cavs went outright at 7-point road dogs last time out at Boston in October, and are 5-2 against the spread last 7 versus Boston. Mm-hmm. He says Cavs or nothing. Dan Kelly, by the way, I did finally move on the Wizards to make the playoffs. I got plus 290 last night after the win over Atlanta, plus 290. So I have the Raptors at plus 180 and the Wizards at plus 290. And those are my only futures. That's it. Those are only futures right now. I mean, looking to maybe add some, but those are my only futures in all of NBA right now. Take it away, Durrell. Cavs, Celtics. You see a line or look, an angle.
Yeah, I'm off this game. I'm kind of in the same boat. This is probably going to be a better game to watch. What I did like, and where I have been making a little bit of money, is on the Brogdon points. Brogdon and Derek White have been scoring points. So I was looking to see, I don't see Derek White props, nor do I see Malcolm Brogdon props. And that's probably because of Jaylen Brown. So there's two ways I'm looking at this, and it's just more exotic because it's a game that I don't want any action on. But the first thing is this. Player to have most likely to have the most points for this game, I'm going to probably look at Jaylen Brown at plus 344. So I'm just telling you what I'm leaning towards. Only because he's been the highest scoring Boston player on both games. He was the highest scorer in the last game they played. The previous game, he scored 30 points, but Karis LeVert put up 41 points, right? So this could be a game where Jaylen Brown gets off, but he's just getting back. So this is kind of me spitballing how I'm looking at this. Also, the last 2 games went to overtime. They went to overtime. The last 2 games they played. So see where if you've got any money on, can this game go into overtime? Sprinkle a little something on that. But this is a game that I don't want to invest anything in. I would rather watch it because I believe it to be a really good game. So yeah, no play for me on this, but I would look at some exotics on this. Do you have anything for Brogdon or Derek White points? Because I don't see it.
Yeah, I'll bring it up right now. I agree with Mike M's thoughts here. He says Boston 5-0 first quarter versus Cavs at home, 9-0 first half versus Cavs at home, and 5-0 as a favorite versus Central. Looks like a trifecta Boston spot. You would have to think that everything kind of falls in a way where you're expecting Boston here to fire away, and the Cavs dominate Toronto. It's just I do not want to go up against the sharp action here, but the Boston first quarter makes so much sense to me as well. I'm just not going to choose to go up against the Sharps ever here. You were looking for
Brogdon or Derek White points. We should have something like maybe about 11 points for
not available at the books right now.
Yeah, okay. That's the only way I would play this. But because Jaylen Brown is in now, you're probably not going to get any points until later. But Jaylen Brown's points is at 24. He put up 30 first game, 32 the last game. So that could be a look also. 24 points doesn't seem too hard to score on the Cavs. So that could be a look. But for now, no play for me.
All right, no action for us here. And Sammy Comer saying look to Clippers futures. I've thought about it. I'm interested in it. I just feel like if I'm going to make a move on the Clippers, I think I would prefer to wait to game 1 of the playoffs. We've been around Kawhi and Paul George for too long for me to want to invest my money in the health of those two basketball players. I just need to cut it down. So, but I have thought about it quite a bit, and I'm keeping an eye on them. Let's move on. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Philadelphia 76ers, 39-21, 15-11 on the road. Miami Heat, 33-29, 19-10 at home. Miami-Dade Arena in Miami, Florida. There's our guy, Rayhan Hyder in the house. Can't wait to hang with Rayhan in San Antonio. Philly 3-2 over their past 5, playing at a pace of 95.8 possessions a game. Miami 1-4, playing at a pace of 96.30 possessions a game. Let's go into the line history here for this one and see what we are dealing with here. This is going to be a fun one. I wonder if that was a big win for the Heat and they can turn it up here moving forward. They opened up as 1-point dogs. They're now 2-point dogs. But the initial move was towards the Heat. There was a full 2-point move where the Heat were favorites. Since then, we've gone 3 points back towards the Sixers. So the Heat are sitting at +2. Totals-wise, this opened up at 215. It's now at 215.5. Not a lot of movement. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. The highest implied line value of the day is on the Philadelphia 76ers. It's not quite 40% or anything, but it's highest on in NBA. 8,687 tickets in. 78% of the tickets, 99% of the cash is on the Sixers. 64% of the tickets and 79% cash is on the over. Joe Chris back from vacation, ready to get this money. I love it. Respect and welcome back, my man. Ray Charles says Butler over 21.5 points. Grit and Grind says Butler points, rebounds, and assists. These guys just faced each other on Monday night. A 101-99 win for the Heat at Philadelphia. Butler just missed a triple-double by the slightest of margins. I know Jay Money cashed big on his double-double. Kyle Lowry has missed 9 straight games now due to the injured left knee. And the Sixers are about to play a ton of games on the road. So starting with this game today, 12 of their next 17 games on the road. Embiid went for 27 and 12 boards. Harden is playing pretty nice basketball right now, 39.3% from 3. Take it away for us, Durrell. Sixers, Heat.
This is another game that I don't have any action on whatsoever, and maybe I'm just a little bitter. I didn't ladder it, but I chose Jimmy Butler triple double at plus 4,400. Put $100 on that, and we couldn't even go to overtime or nothing, man. We couldn't. We could not. We talked about 10 rebounds, 9 assists.
Wow.
And all he had to do was, even on the last 2 points when he kind of did that little over-under in the paint, all he had to do was pass it right to Bam Adebayo, man. It was like, oh. So I've been a little bitter, Jimmy, to say the least. I was bitter about that, and I haven't even looked at Miami. But if I'm going to choose a side, Analytics website says that this game doesn't cover. It does not cover at all. So there's not really many teams that are covering today. Not many faves are covering today, according to the site. So for this one here, this is another one to where if I'm going to get there, I'll play some props. But as far as going to a side, I can't get there at all.
Yeah, I get the revenge angle. I get it. And here you see 78% of the tickets on the Sixers, 99% of the cash. It's a lot of money on the Sixers here. LJ, what do you think here, Sixers Heat?
I'm going to take a shot on the Sixers, man. I like the revenge spot. Miami does not play well in this situation at home. 8-19-2 at home. That's the NBA's worst. 9-20-3 ATS after a win. Also the worst in the NBA. So I just figured the Sixers are going to be seething at the mouth for losing that game. You know, I know they still thinking about it right now. Probably ain't slept. B slept in a couple of days. So I know that they circled this game after that loss. And they haven't lost 3 in a row. They're on a 2-game losing streak. They are 12-8 after a loss, but they haven't lost 3 in a row since early December. So I'm trusting the Philly will come back in this game, considering how the Heat play at home. They're not very good ATS-wise. They are 8-1 straight up in their last 9 at home versus the Sixers. But I just believe the Sixers are going to get some revenge. They are 22-15 in their conference and 9-2 straight up in their last 11. So I'm going to take a shot on the Sixers minus the 2.
All right, let's see. There are some decent numbers. Let's just see what the 1.5 is over here. It's minus 115. So do you want the minus 2 at minus 105 or minus 1.5 minus 115? Yeah. Okay. Sixers.
Yeah, give me the 2, 105. Yeah.
Minus 2 at minus 105. That's at Pinnacle. I do have that site up. Mike M says just take the 76ers money line. It's safer.
What's the vig? What's the vig on what's the vig on the money line? You're probably like
minus 130.
Yeah, the best we can get is minus 125 over at PointsBet, and Pinnacle is at minus 125 as well.
Because you're asking them to win by a bucket for the most part. You know, I mean, I think they can win by 3. So I'm just going to take a shot.
I keep the vig down as well myself. Sweaty Butcher says juice only matters if you lose.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So,
talk about it.
Piker says Heat have had their number last 3 straight head-to-head. Buyer beware, but it's a Philly spot here. Feels square, though. All right, we've moved on. There's DJ Big Boss in the house. Sixers minus 2 at minus 105 for Philly. And if you want to run with DJ Big Boss, if you're man enough to run with this guy, if you are, he'll be in San Antonio for Pubapalooza right there. Right there. All right, let's keep rolling here. Next up for us, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. There's Sharon in the house. Brooklyn Nets 34, and Rayhan says I'm not seeing 99 of the cash on Philly. I see closer to 70%. Rayhan, how much does it cost for you to see the tickets in the cash? That's the question I always ask. Is your site is expensive? Does your site cost $1,500 a year? Let me know. Madison Square Garden, New York. Brooklyn 1-4 over their past 5, playing at a pace 98.2 possessions a game. Knicks 5-0, playing at a pace of 97.30 possessions a game. Nets, Knicks here. Let's take a look at the line history. We have Brooklyn opening up at +7. They're now at 7.5. A half-point move towards the Knicks. Totals-wise, it's opened up at 222.5, and it's now at 223. Let's go over to the cash flow for this one. And even though mine is really expensive, I don't think we should fully trust any of these sites. You know, they should just give us an indication. I don't think that we should ever fully trust any of these sites until we start getting real information on injuries. Trust fucking no one. Brooklyn, New York here, 8,075 tickets in. 70% of the tickets on the Knicks and 94% of cash. 27% of the tickets and 80% of cash on the under, and the market's not even moving towards the under. The Nets are on the second half of a back-to-back after suffering their third straight loss, 118-104 at home to the Bucks last night. Brooklyn, 7 wins in their last 21 games, still holding on that final guaranteed playoff spot. You know that's not going to last. They are 1 game behind New York, a game and a half ahead of Miami. Knicks coming off a 9-2 month. They played very well, 6 straight wins, and coming off their most impressive to date, 109-94 victory at home over the Celtics on Monday night. This told me that I got to want to be on Brooklyn early. I think that they're going to bounce back, but I want to hear everybody's thoughts on it. So let's go with LJ. LJ, take it away. Brooklyn Knicks.
Yeah, Jimmy, I'm loving this game. And this is my Trill OG bet of the day. Give me the Knicks first quarter minus 2.5. And like Daryl say, I don't give a damn what the spread is. Because the Knicks first quarter, 22-10-1 ATS in the first quarter at home, 7-3 straight up in their last 10. And they also in the first half, 24-8-1 ATS in the first half at home, 6-4 straight up in their last 10. 6-3-1 straight up in their last 10 at home versus the East in the first quarter. The Nets are 1-6-1 straight up in their last 8 games on the road in the first quarter versus the East. So I believe the Knicks are going to come out, smack them early. They already beat them on the 13th, 124-106. Brunson had 40 in that game. So I don't see any way the Nets are going to slow the Knicks down at home. They've won 6 in a row. They're 8-2 in their last 10, 13-8 at home versus the East. Now, they are 6-8 versus the division. Now, that gives me kind of some trepidation, but that's why I'm not going to take the full game. I'm just going to take them early and get my money where I can get it, considering how the Nets are lacking in the first quarter, 6-1, and they've lost 3 in a row as well, 3-7 in their last 10. Now, far as the scoring, the Nets have been held to under 100 points in their last 3 road games versus the East as well. They did score 127 versus the Hawks, but we already know the Hawks don't play defense. So I watched that game away, but 3 out of the 4 last road games, they've been held to under 100 points. So all that said, Knicks -2.5 first quarter.
Wow.
Jack
Wow.
Rosenblatt says Knicks margin first quarter plus 5.7 points last 3. Viper says he'll be at this game and will be heckling Simmons with furious vigor. Furious vigor. Jack Rosenblatt on the Knicks first quarter team total over 29.5. Let's hear what Durrell has to say. The Trill OG play of the day from our LJ from H-Town. Knicks first quarter -2.5, -110. What do you think, Durrell?
I'm in church with the first quarter, and this is the reason why, man. But you might change my mind here. This will be the 4th game they've played. Now, there's different situations for every game, right? But do you know the Nets in all 3 games have beat them first quarter and first half?
Mm-hmm.
They have beat them first quarter and first half. That's when I first looked at it. But we're talking about a completely different Brooklyn or New York Knicks team right now that is absolutely on fire. And I can't shine away from that either. I know a lot of people are on the first quarter and the first half. Why? In spite of all that, who's the number 1 first half team ATS? The Knicks. The Knicks are. So the only way I can look at this, because sometimes I got to get out of my own head, is just to take this game full game. I think the line is perfectly adjusted. Last game was New York Knicks -3. Now we've got a team that's decimated in Brooklyn, but we've also got a team that's kind of finding their stride. I'm kind of early to the party here. Give me Knicks -7.5. Knicks full game -7.5. I might get there with you, LJ. I'm going to get out of my head, man. Give me first quarter also. I'm going to play that now. I'm going to play that right now. Knicks full game, Knicks first quarter. And why not? Knicks trifecta.
Let's go, Daryl.
Wow.
Knicks trifecta, man. I'm doing it. Knicks trifecta.
And another trend that helps your full game with the Knicks. A road dog coming off a home loss on the second leg of a back-to-back is 1-19 straight up on the season.
Wow. And you guys have no concern over a season-defining victory over the Celtics?
No.
All right.
Not at all, buddy.
Not at all. If anything, that just goes to show you how good they're playing. I mean, they was out there frustrating Tatum. I mean, when you get a technical and you get ejected like that, man, that is a mental thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting, and if you don't look now, man, Mitchell Robinson is balling. He is absolutely balling right now. So this team has found their stride, and you kind of got to get them early. Unlike the Bucks, where I haven't been able to be a part of this 15-game win streak, but this one here, the Knicks are just balling. So I'll take it. This is my first trifecta play of the year. This one's it.
Do you want the first half at there's a 3.5 available at -115, which is quite a bit better than the other books are giving available. Or do you want the -4 with very low vig?
Their best first half. Give me -4. I'll take the -4.
Okay, because you're 3.5 -115 in comparison. The Pinnacle's at 4.5. Actually, I can't even. Oh yeah, no, I can't even give you low vig on the 4. Unfortunately, that it's moving so quick. Betway still has a 3.5 up. So the 3.5 at -115, or a 4.5 at -105.
I just look. My book has it at 4.5 minus 105. Give it to me.
All right.
I'm playing them now.
1.5.
Let's get it, man. We gotta get some money from last night, man. We gotta get some
Yeah.
money back.
All right. You are locked in. Nasty Nate, Knicks trifecta. Markel says Knicks first half is a thing I can play. Yeah, it's not fully, Dan. It's more of what I kind of put into it. Yeah, it's they do it differently with their line value, but and we've had cappers. B-Lab 6'9" was tracking it in baseball, and baseball was doing really well for a while, then it fell off late in the year. But I probably should keep a closer eye on the ones where the line value has pushed me into one direction and start.
So Jimmy,
yeah,
I just got the first quarter at -3.
Okay, we got you 2.5 at -110.
Okay.
So we got you there. And then the full game -7.5 at +100. All right, so our squad has spoken. A trilogy play of the day for LJ. Knicks first quarter -2.5. And Durrell, first triple up of the year. Knicks first quarter, first half, and full game -7.5 at +100. Let's move on. 8 p.m. Eastern. Memphis Grizzlies 36-23, 11-18 on the road at the Houston Rockets, 13-47, 8-20 at home at Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. Memphis 3-2 over their past 5, playing the pace of 101.2 possessions a game. Houston 0-5, playing the pace of 100.20 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the line history for this one. We have the Grizzlies opening up at -9.5. They got up to 10.5. They're back at 10. Totals wise, this opened up at 234. It's now at 230.5. All of the totals today have been dropping. Rayhan Hyder with the $4.99 dono. Respect, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate
Thank you, brother.
all y'all's
Thank
work. This helps my card every day so much. We love you, Rayhan. Can't wait to hang with you in San Antone. Let's go over to the cash flow for this spot. Memphis, Houston. 4,407 tickets in. Houston's been given the second amount of highest line value on the board. 4,407 tickets in. 20% of the tickets on Houston, 24% of the cash. So still Memphis being backed by the gamblers and the market moving slightly in their direction. 75% of tickets and 84% cash on the over, and yet that's dropped. That's wild. Very, very wild. Grizzlies on the second half of back-to-back after winning their second straight game last night, 121-109 at home over the Lakers. Steven Adams still out. Rockets on the second half of back-to-back after losing their 10th straight game, 133-112 at home to the Nuggets last night. Rockets 1-8 against division opponents. Jayshawn Tate out. KPJ out. Perfect that we have LJ here with us, but he opened up last one, so we'll let him close this one. Let's hear what Durrell has to say. Memphis, Houston.
Off of back-to-back, Memphis actually had a game on their hands until the third quarter against the Lakers. They were on fire. They were absolutely on fire. I don't want to play this game at all. The only thing that I've seen is there is another capper. I can't think of his name right now. He's on with Jay. That I think you have to. I don't know exactly what it is, but I've heard him say it once or twice, and that's you play under on the Sengun props. I think those are just hitting at ease because he's on a minutes restriction. I believe so. And then a buddy of mine in the sports group has been playing his under on his PRA, and they're just hitting. So as far as the side here, it would have to just be Memphis. Even off the back-to-back, this line is large for a reason because they can just get off. But how motivated is Memphis to play against the Rockets after a big win against the Lakers? Memphis just doesn't like the Lakers at all. It's very, very personal between those two teams. LeBron has came out and said that they talk too much. He kind of got on all of them for talking too much. Game they played prior to that with LeBron, you saw the whole Shannon Sharp issue that they had. And so that was a game that they were going to get up for. And you saw LA kind of get up, until it got away from them in the third quarter. That was it. It got away. I think Memphis put up almost 50 points. Ja was just on fire, put up almost 30 points in the third quarter alone. So against the Rockets, I just don't think that vitriol is there, right? I don't think that motivation to get up is there. I just don't go around playing the Rockets because, they can be up by 10 in their sleep. So this is a game that I'm going to stay away from. We saw yesterday a lot of people were on Grizzlies first half. A lot of people were on that. Okay, yeah, well, Grizzlies first half, and we saw how this game played out. So for right now, it's a pass for me. I don't have any interest in the Grizzlies or the Rockets. It is a back-to-back, and Rockets could cover this game. So for right now, no play.
Yeah, these first half team total overs against Rockets are just so easy. But you're right, situationally, do I think Memphis going to be locked in to go over? Because 59.5, I mean, that's a gift against the Rockets in the first half, but still I'm hesitant. Let's hear what LJ has to say about his hometown Rockets at home in the Toyota Center against the Grizzlies. Take it away.
Yeah, Jimmy. I have a rule to where if I'm on a bet like last night, he just mentioned, I was on Memphis first half. It didn't cash. So my rule is I always go back to the same bet if they have consistently been putting up the numbers. So, Daryl, who is the second best team first half?
Yeah, Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are.
They
absolutely are. Mm-hmm.
And they're coming to Toyota Center to play a team that has lost 5 straight games against the spread. Memphis is 4-1 against the spread, the last 5 versus the West. So I'm not scared of the number. Give me Memphis full game. I don't see how the Rockets are going to score. You can give me their team. What is their team total before I say it? Because I don't like to make a lot of bets in my record. Be looking the way it is. Team total, what? Over 120.5? I'm taking that. Memphis team total over 120.5. I'm taking the -10 full game. I just feel Memphis is just going to blow out the Rockets. And during the fourth quarter, I believe that they might let off the gas, but the Rockets tend to fight, towards the end of games, especially at home. They love playing in front of their home crowd. But the fact that KPJ is still out of that lineup and Jalen Green has to depend on all the points to score. You just mentioned Sagoon is on a minutes restriction. So we got people like Tayshaun Tate, who's also may be out of this game as well. So we don't have enough bodies and enough offensive production to keep up with a team like Memphis that's going to score at least 100, 110 points a game. So all that, Memphis -10, team total over 20.5, smack it.
A bunch of games were just pulled from Pinnacle. This is one of them.
Somebody sitting.
Just pulled from Pinnacle.
If I was Memphis, for real.
I wouldn't be bad either because they got the Nuggets on deck Friday. You get what I'm trying to say? So they could save this game for the Nuggets. So I agree with it, but hey, if they take it off the board, they take it off.
Take it off as a bet. You'll get a better number. I mean, you saw that hard fall by Ja, right? He came, but he got back up. But get a better number and still take the Grizzlies here if that's the case. I mean, they could do it without Ja at the 10. Yeah, but it's just the motivation there behind it. Like I said, the Hornets have absolutely nothing for these guys. So I wouldn't be surprised if they sat Ja out.
So do we want to wait and revisit this at the end?
Let's wait. Yeah, let's wait. Because you say it's off the board.
It's off the board at Pinnacle, but Pinnacle is very cautious, but still that tells me something. Does anybody else see it off the board at their books? I'm just going to check, see if Bet Online has it off the board here.
Let me refresh mine.
All right, let's see. Let's get a quick idea if they have it off the board. It is off the board at Pinnacle right now.
Mine's off.
It's off?
It's off mine too. Yep, that game is off. Somebody is sitting.
Somebody is sitting.
Yep, mine's off.
Somebody is sitting.
Okay. All right. So pulling the Memphis look for LJ, and this is what this show is all about. It will always be all about getting as much information as possible, working together so that we can succeed. Moneyline Mills says it's still on Bovada. I guess the only thing you could possibly want to do, which we don't want to do, is take the Rockets right now at 10 and then go for a middle. All right. Let's move on past this spot. And LJ and Durrell, anything they tweet out and they tag me today in NBA, we can put on the book. Mike M says I've got it up at 3 books. Yeah, I've still got it up at Bet365. And it's let me just move over here. Is it up at, can I get that?
Yeah, it's off of my local.
All right, well, let's roll on. We'll revisit that again as well. And Harold Williams says they're not scoring 120 without Ja on a back-to-back. As soon as we...
Yeah, that's true. Hey, I agree. I have to have Ja.
All right. Jim W. Putt is on for don't take the first half -5.5. Do not bet that right now. Please wait. Please wait.
Yeah.
Please.
Because if something's out, then we're in.
Somebody's out. You're going to get a great number. You get a better number. Or take that same number, and you probably have plus money at this point, right?
Mhm.
Like if that number, if you're that confident with Memphis, if somebody is sitting, right, wait for the number and then do an alt number back at -10. You're going to probably get plus money out of that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great call. That's a great call. Okay. All right, let's roll on. 8 p.m. Eastern. Orlando Magic 26-36, 11-20 on the road at the Milwaukee Bucks, 43-17, 26-5 at home. We're at Pfizer Forum, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Orlando 3-2 over their past 5, playing at a pace of 99 possessions a game. Milwaukee 5-0, playing at a pace of 101.29 possessions a game. I came so close to betting the Magic, and I was like, how could there be sharp money on Milwaukee? I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll wait and I'll talk it out with the guys and then decide if I still want to move on it. At that time, it didn't look like the market was moving away from them. But let's see if the market is here right now moving. At the time, it was 7.5. Let's see what it is right now. I know Milwaukee's on the winning streak. It's exciting to have winning streaks. You know, I get it. The 4th longest in Bucks history. Let's see what we're doing here. There are some 7s now on the board. See what bet this opened up. Milwaukee at -9, and it's right now it's 7.5, just exactly where it was at Bet365. Totals wise, it's opened up at 225. It's now at 225.5. It's gone up a half point. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this spot. 3,668 tickets in. 41% of the tickets and 64% of the cash is now on Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
So it's flipped.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So I would, they've added another 1,800 tickets. The first 1,800 tickets were on the Bucks, and bigger bets were on the Bucks. I tend to kind of respect that action more than this last 1,800 tickets, but now at least the sharp money is pretty clearly, or the bigger bets are pretty clearly on Orlando. 20% of tickets and 70% of the cash on the under. 20 and 70 on the under, but it's gone up a half point. Alfred 44 says a lot of movement to the Magic. Jeffrey Blue in the house. Sky Dragon says, go, Orlando, go. Orlando comes in off its second win in 3 games, 101-93 at the Pelicans on Monday. Banchero went for 29. We could see the return of Jonathan Isaac. He's been out for 2 games with a strained right hamstring. Bucks on the second half of back-to-back after winning their 15th straight game, 118-104 last night at Brooklyn. Giannis goes for 33 and 15. I mean, they just dominated the second half. They just flipped the switch. That's when you know how good a basketball team is, when they can just flip the switch. They've won 10 straight at home, 26 of 31 at home, and it's the 4th longest winning streak in franchise history, 5 away from the longest winning streak in franchise history. So yes, the winning streak will keep them sharp and probably keep players in, but man, it feels like the Magic have to be the spot here. Let's take it away. Let's go with our man LJ from H-Town. Magic Bucks.
Yeah, man, the Bucks are the hottest team right now. You just spilled off the numbers. They won 15 in a row. They're 30-9 in their last 39 games. 19-4 in their last 23. 17-1 in their last 18 games. The only loss was the Cavs. They're 14-4 at home versus the East, and they're 6-0-1 ATS on a back-to-back, which is number 1 in the NBA. So for all of those reasons, I'm going to be on the Bucks full game. Hopefully, Giannis will be ruled in. I don't see anything that he's not playing, but as long as Giannis is in that lineup, I'm taking the Bucks. They are 13-8-1 straight up in the last 22 in the first quarter with Giannis in that lineup, but I'm just going to stay off the first quarter. I think we got a lot of action already in the first quarter, so I'm just going to stay with the full game. Now, the Magic. They're only 4-9 versus this division, 6-15 on the road versus the East, 3-7 in the last 10 road games versus the East in the first quarter. So that's another reason why I was like leaning towards the first. Now I'm not mad if you take it, but I'm just going to pass on it. But the Magic played good in the first half, 13-3 straight up in their last 16 in the first half, 10-1 straight up in their last 11. Now the Bucks 10-3-2 straight up in their last 15 in the first half. 6-3-1 in their last 10. So I believe the Magic may possibly cover this first half spread. That's why I'm going to stay off the first side of the game. But full game, I believe the Bucks come back in the second half, roll the Magic, put them to sleep, take care of that number. I'm on the Bucks full game.
Well, I have fucked up news again.
It's off the board.
It's been pulled
It's
off the board from Pinnacle.
Oh my god!
So you know what that means? It's got to be Giannis.
Gotta be honest.
Damn.
It's got to be Giannis.
Shout out to the Fowlish Hound. That will stop our anger towards
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, Fowlish.
Fowlish Hound
Fowlish.
in the house.
Alex always makes us happy.
Delusional
Yeah.
Eats party on Sunday in San Antonio. Harold Williams has told y'all. I think that if the Magic,
Told y'all.
if the Magic was if available at your book, they're available in my book at +7.5. They should be bet right now. I think.
Plus the 7, Magic.
I think so. It's 7.5. I mean that.
Yeah.
If
why
you
else-
like the Magic.
I keep
Yeah.
refreshing Penny. It's still up. It's still up at Bet Online. Still up at Bet 365. What we know about
Told y'all.
Pinnacle is that they're very cautious. There's no other book that's as cautious as Pinnacle, so they pulled it. Markel says, "Bro, Magic calling my name again." Look, I think I should bet the Magic right now during the show.
Better get on it, man.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, man. I'll tell you right now, I don't give a shit about this game. I don't. Yeah, you know why? Because it'd be the story of me to where I come to the party late and everybody gone. And this could be the game where the Bucks just lose and I done put my money on the Bucks. You know what I'm saying? So, nah, man. The Bucks are hot. No reason that they should lose against the Magic. But it's always that trickeration, man. It's always these types of scenarios to where, you bet them and they don't cover. So if you like the Magic, take them now. But I'm not touching this game at all.
I'm betting it right now.
Don't let me come back and say told y'all.
All right. I'm betting it right now. All right, let's roll on here. It's going to take me a second to get this in, but I'm moving on it right now. +7.5. It's available right now. Bet3, so I'm moving on it. 8 p.m. Eastern, LA Lakers 29-32, 14-18 on the road at the Oklahoma City Thunder, 28-32, 17-13 at home. Paycom Center in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Lakers 3-2 over the past 5, playing the pace 103.60 possessions a game. Thunder 1-4, playing the pace of 102.47 possessions a game. Very high scoring action here. Let's take a look at the line history with this one. We have the Lakers opening up as 1-point favorites. They are now 2.5-point dogs.
2. So you know what's going on there. No.
What?
I don't got it. Or you said the Lakers or the Thunder? I've got Thunder at -2 right now.
Yes. The Thunder opened up at +1. They're now 2.5-point favorites. The Lakers opened up at -1. They're now 2.5-point dogs. Totals wise, this opened up at 229.5. It went up to 230.5. It's down to 228.5. So a big market move towards the Thunder here. 4,025 tickets in. The move doesn't really follow the betting public. I mean, we know the books are trying to beat us, but 56% of the tickets and 92% of the cash is on the Los Angeles Lakers.
So is that sharp movement, Jimmy?
The movement has to be somebody knowing that a player, it's got to be a player out.
Yeah, that's sharp movement. Yeah, I don't think AD plays.
Yeah.
I don't think AD plays here.
And they said last night that he was going to play on the back-to-back. They mentioned it during the broadcast.
Yeah, but you saw where he was kind of messing with his wrist. He kind of had a little bit of injury issue. And, I don't think AD plays. If that's not off, I'll give this to you early. And I know Dan's going to hate me. I like the Lakers here. So give me the Lakers +2, 2.5 if you got it. That's
you don't want to wait till the announcement and get a better line? I mean, yes,
I haven't played it yet.
That's happening. But Joe Chris is AD in street clothes tonight. I just think that
let's see if it's you're right. I should better. Okay.
Yeah.
Because once the public sees it, then it'll probably get to 3.5.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on the Lakers tonight, though. I'm gonna be on the Lakers, and now that's what I'm gonna tweet out. That's gonna be 2 plays on the Lakers. I'm gonna get them at the dog price, and then I'm gonna get them on the money line.
Lakers
Yeah.
need wins. I see why you're taking them because they need wins. You know, and
Yeah.
Thunder would be a perfect time for them to get a win. They should beat the Thunder without AD or LeBron.
Absolutely. And you saw how the bench played yesterday. They stayed up with the Memphis Grizzlies, man, for a minute. Lonnie Walker was balling. I mean, I'm going to look at his props. These young guys coming off the bench, man, can play pretty well. And so, yeah, we'll wait for this number. But this is the game the Lakers should win and do it at ease playing against Memphis like they did. Now, we know how they talk about one of the worst spots for a team to be in is what? Back-to-back travel. So, yeah, there is going to be some instance there where you're dealing with tired legs. But I just think the Lakers can hold on here. It's a game that they have to win. It's a must-win game. No AD, no LeBron. I'm glad you told me that because I was just about to push the button on the 2.5. But, yeah, let's get this to 3.5 or so, and I'm going to be playing Lakers at the dog price and money line.
So we know there'll be no D'Angelo Russell. We know there'll be no LeBron James, and we are now expecting no AD. We know for the Thunder that there'll be no Shea. He's still in health and safety protocols. It's already been said by the coach that he's very unlikely for tonight. And that's the situation we're in. Let's ask LJ, is there anything you're making official here? Duro wants the Lakers, but I think it is wise to wait.
Yeah, I'll wait.
No, I don't want anything in this game. I don't bet teams that don't got their superstars in the lineup. And we're missing too much offensive production from both sides, to be honest with you. So I'm just going to heavy pass on this one for sure.
Shout out to Fat Cat Ninja, now a member of Pub for a second month. Respect and love to you, my friend. Swiss Horton says, Jimmy, I'm on AD unders for the rest of the season. This is confidence being shot. Says another man dunked his nuts on him on national television.
Oh, this guy. This is where we're going.
All right.
Y'all wildin', man. I would have cut up, man.
Swiss Horton, representing
Knock
both
it off,
Swiss
man.
Chalet and Tim Hortons in one name. Let's move on. 10 p.m. Eastern is next for us. New Orleans Pelicans, 30-32, 10-21 on the road at the Portland Trail Blazers, 29-31, 17-14 home at Moda Center in Portland, Oregon. Pelicans 1-4 over their past 5, 99.7 possessions a game. Portland 2-3, 99.9 possessions a game. And I made my first player prop bet in 2 years yesterday. I had to. I was like, look, I got you. You can't just not. You can't say no to money. Somebody can give you put money in your hand and be like, look, no, thank you.
Right.
No, take pity on me as much as possible. I will take the Dame Lillard under 37.5 points. So I did move on that, and thank God I did. Let's move over to the line history here for Pelicans Blazers. Last game on the board before we get into college basketball. Let's see what we're dealing with the line history and then the cash flow here. Remember the hope that the Pelicans had at the beginning of the year?
Yeah.
They opened up at +2. It quickly went to 2.5, but it's now at 1.5. So there has been a half-point move towards them. Totals-wise, this opened up at 232.5, and it's up to 233. Let's also check out Pinnacle to see if they have this game on the board, and they don't. God, this site. Let's just refresh and see if they've added anything here. They must think that there's a chance that
Dame
doesn't play. Okay, no, we're back up. Okay, we're back up. So Magic and Bucks is back up at 7.5.
Okay.
And the Lakers is up at 2.5. And what was the other one we were waiting on? They've moved the Knicks to 8-point favorites.
The Rockets in Memphis
is back on the board at 10.
Okay.
So everything's
I
back.
I like that Knicks play. I'm telling you, man. Yeah.
OKC just hit -3 at Heritage, says Jim. So you're right to wait. Have patience there if you like the Lakers. Okay, let's get to work here on this one. Pelicans coming off their 4 straight loss, 101-93 at home to the Magic on Monday night. Brandon Ingram, BI went for 25. Zion hasn't played since January 2nd. They've won 7 of 25 games without Zion in the lineup. That's ugly. Grand Theft Auto out with a lower leg injury. Larry Nance Jr. out. Jay Lee calf injury. Josh J. Rich questionable with a quad injury. And they're a half game ahead of Portland for the final Western Conference play-in berth. They're playing stretch of 7 of 8 games on the road. This is the 6th game of that 7 of 8 games on the road. Blazers are on the second half of back-to-back after losing their 3rd and 4th games last night, 123-105 at Golden State last night. I just can't even believe that I didn't cash the Warriors first half. Still irritating.
Yeah.
So Dame has his lowest scoring game in 5 weeks. Just keep it in your pocket. Anytime a player has a career-high best performance, just take their under in the next game. Call it a day. Lillard, 19 points in the first half. It was 65-48 at halftime for Portland, and then they were outscored 75-40. So take it away here. We'll have Durrell. I guess it's back to LJ to start this one off. LJ, take it away. Pelicans, Blazers, last game on the board.
I ain't got none on this one, Jimmy. The Pelicans have been just like you just mentioned, man. They've been horrific since Zion's been out of that lineup. The only thing that you can bet on is try to see if Brandon Ingram hits his points, but I don't see another advantage or any type of money that we can make off the Pelicans right now. As far as the Blazers, I don't really trust them either, to be honest. I mean, they should win this game, but at the same time, I don't know if Dame's going to play. So I just stayed off this game. I didn't even look at this game, to be honest with you. So I'm going to pass it to Darryl.
83% of the tickets, 81% of the cash on the Trailblazers, and it's just moved towards the Pelicans.
Yeah, see, I'm good. I'll pass it to Darryl.
Darryl, what do you think here?
Yeah, only way I'm going to play this game, I'll make, because it's negative money. CJ McCollum, over 21.5 points seems about right. It does. The only way I would play this game is on CJ's side. So other than that, I don't like the scenarios for both teams. One's on a back-to-back, one's been on the road forever.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Even though there's motivation to play because where they are in the standings, I don't like the back-to-back. So for now, I'm just going to lean CJ McCollum over 21.5 points. Only reason why I don't really even get there with it is because they only put up 13 last time they played. Yeah. Right. So it's not like he went ham on him. But he is going back to where he was for the past 8 years.
Yeah.
He knows that arena. He knows the vibe. He knows the energy there, and he's respected there. As quiet as kept, man. I mean, I lived in Portland for 4 years. CJ is pretty respected there. Who they don't like is LaMarcus Aldridge, but CJ McCollum, he should get a little respect there for the most part. And so it'll be nice for him to come back. He'll probably put up a show. He knows the arena. He knows the crowd. And you've got not a decimated, but a tired Portland team here. So I would still kind of lean Pelicans, but there's just too many, back and forth for me to make a final decision. But I do like the CJ McCollum over 21.5 points.
Are you making that official?
No, definitely not yet. I'm going to be patient here. This might just go up, to be honest with you. And I think I'm going to have my book open and ready to see if there's some Dame news. But yeah, I'll wait on this.
Yeah, now at 1.5 right across the board. So all the money on Portland. Pelicans are at plus 1.5 right across the board. That's wild. And then here for Memphis, we have a couple 9.5s on the board. But over at Pinnacle, they brought the Memphis game back up, and they have that with the Grizz at -10 at -104. The plus 10 is juiced slightly. So, LJ, did you want to lock in Grizzlies looks here, or did you want to wait?
I'm going to wait. Okay. I'll tag you.
All right, let's review all action here, official action in NBA. Durrell and LJ both on the Bulls first quarter -1.5. LJ's also on the under 22.5 in Bulls Pistons, and I also joined them on the first quarter. Then Cavs Celtics, we stayed off, and it was very difficult for me to stay off. I personally think that is Boston going to let another basketball team in the East just beat them all year? I mean, I don't see how they would do that, but sharp big bets are on Cleveland. I'm just simply not going up against that. Then LJ's on the Sixers -2 at -105. The Trill OG play today is LJ on the Knicks first quarter -2.5 -110. And Durrell, first triple up of the year. Knicks first quarter, first half, full game. Wow.
You know what, Jimmy? Put me on the full game too. I'm riding full game with them. I can't deny that trend. 1-19 straight up after you a home loss, road dog. Yeah, I think the Knicks take care of business too.
All right, well, let's get that for you here. 7.5 still available. That's 7.5 at plus 100 that we got. Durrell is still available.
Plus monies.
Full game.
Plus monies.
At plus 100 locked in. Then Grizzlies, Houston, we expect LJ, who knows this Rockets team inside and out, to move on the Grizzlies at some point today, but he is waiting. Then I moved on the Magic at plus 7.5. There was no need for me to rush it. That's there right now, available right now. And in fact, the 7.5 for the Bucks is slightly juiced. So that's telling me that Giannis is going to be in, even though they were questioning about that. So I'm on Magic. Durrell wants the Lakers, but he's wisely waiting for a better line.
I'm going to wait. Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
we are off Pelicans, Blazers. That is the situation. Durrell, spectacular work. Great. So great to have you back, my man. You will be on NBA Pub Hub again tomorrow. And we love having you. Any chance you're going to get to San Antonio?
I'm coming close to. I'm coming really, really close to it. I'll chat with you offline.
Cool. Well, we would love it if you could make it there. We know LJ going to be rocking with us there. LJ was on my debut episode as well of Sunday Night Live. I loved hanging with you, LJ. LJ, first off, let the Cappers know where they can find you. And it's been great having you on these Wednesdays last few weeks. So take it away. Last words for the chat.
Hey, they can hit me up at LJ Sports Media right there in the box. You can, like I said, DM me as well. I will respond. I'll give you whatever plays I'm looking at or tending to bet. You know, me and Darryl chop it up, you know, all the time, you know, giving picks back and forth. So I'm a very transparent capper, man. So y'all hit me up, want to get some insight, hit me up at LJ Sports Media. And also follow me right here on Pub Sports Radio. Jimmy the Bad. We're doing Sunday Night Live games again. So, hey, I'm all over the place on Pub Sports. So see y'all in San Antonio at Pubapalooza. So shout out to the chat and everybody that support, man. Much love.
Love it, LJ, and love it, Durrell. Thank you guys both. Follow Durrell on Twitter at It's Durrell. Love those guys. All right, we move on to college basketball, and I got stabbed in the larynx by the Hoosiers yesterday, and I want to get back at it immediately. So let's get to work. Let's bring on the star of NCAA basketball Wednesdays from Dallas, Texas. Please welcome Dabby Cab to the show. Dabby, how are you, my man?
Good, Jimmy. Good. Like you said, 1-2 yesterday wasn't the best. I'm ready to get rolling, man. I've had a positive day 11 of the last 14 days, but none of that shit matters because when I have a losing day, it pisses me off, bro. It just ruins it. Shits in my sandwich. So I'm ready to get back at it today and make some fucking money.
Well, let's get right to work. Let me just see if the old site has fixed itself, which I doubt, but let's check it out here. Has it fixed itself? Can we go back? And the answer is yes. Okay, that's great. Okay, good. So let's see it light up here. Show me the number. Okay, good. Okay, get rid of this. So we can go back to Pinnacle and Bet Online openers. Let's get to work here. So we are picking the power 6 games in the Power 5. And then we're also doing the NEC Conference Tournament. We'll dive deeper into the NEC Conference Tournament, but Merrimack is not allowed to play in the tourney due to these archaic rules that 4 years, all this bullshit. Merrimack's the favorite in the tournament. And that brings a ton of interesting angles here, especially for Fairleigh Dickinson to get into the tourney. Also, a real possibility that Fairleigh Dickinson can win this route to the NCAA tournament, sitting in their locker room with no net cutting, no nothing. So they'll know that if they win the semi. So Fairleigh Dickinson, if Merrimack keeps winning, Fairleigh Dickinson 2 games away from being the first team in the tournament and probably the lowest ranked team in the tournament. So we will get into that here. We're going to start with big games. Joe Chris says, what the fuck was Clemson doing last night versus Virginia? Well, I had that hooked up. I had Virginia first half. And
didn't they cash the originals? It was originally 7.5 and moved down to 6.5, if I'm not mistaken. And then 6 is where it finished, right?
I thought it finished at 7. I didn't.
7. Okay, 7. 7.
Maybe it
Excuse me,
didn't.
7.
Maybe
Yeah,
it didn't.
exactly. No, it finished at 7. You're right. I was
Okay.
just saying. So that's why that line movement and everything's so important right there.
I had the first half. That's all I wanted, and the first half was very comfortable. It did get a little tighter, full game, but there was mistakes made yesterday. They can't be made today. Let's get to work here in college basketball. We start at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Number 19th ranked Xavier Musketeers, 21-8, 13-5 in conference. At the number 20 ranked Providence Friars, 21-8, 13-5 in conference. We're in Providence, Rhode Island, home of Nasty Nate here. Let's get to work and see what the line history is. We open up and we're back in action. Beautiful. Okay. Our main site's up. Move over to movement. At Pinnacle, this opened up. Providence -3.5, -108. They're now -3.5, -118. A 10-cent move towards them. Let's go over to Bet Online. Over at Bet Online, we have Providence opening up at -3. They're now at -3.5, -117. So imagine mostly 4s around. Total wise, this opened up at 155.5. We've dropped 4 points down to 151.5. A big drop. Let's go to the cash flow here. Xavier has been given the second most line value on the entire card. We do have a team today with full line value, and it's one of the games we'll be capping. But here, Xavier, 75% line value, 10,139 tickets in, and the gambling public does not believe in them. 27% of tickets, 27% of cash on Xavier. Then you have 59% of tickets and 74% of cash on the over, but we've seen it drop 4 points. Ed Skydragon says Wright State being 20.5 all day, closing at 19.5, me betting the 19.5, and then winning by exactly 20 was beautiful to see. It's so important. JP just says Texas A&M, baby. Shout out to Dab's alma mater.
Actually, I went to Tech.
His dad went to A&M.
We cashed regardless, and that's what matters.
He is. If you've studied Dabby Cav's baseball statistics, you would know he is not A&M, but his father. Okay, but let's get to work here. Xavier comes in off its second win in 3 games, 82-60 at Seton Hall's 1.5-point favorites on Friday. Providence comes in off its third win in 4 games, 88-68 at Georgetown on Sunday as 6.5-point favorites. So both teams coming off smash and grabs. Providence lost at Xavier 85-83 back on February 1st as 3.5-point dogs. This is pretty tricky. Market moving towards Providence, the public believing in Providence. Is it as easy as the market and the public are making it sound? Dabby Cab, take it away.
I mean, here's the thing. If you put too many more points, I mean, I know maybe the line seems a little fishy, but if you put too many points on Xavier, Providence wins, but they win a lot of close games also. Xavier this year, 7-3 on the road. They're putting up 81.9 points per game. That's 13th. But they give up 74.3 points per game. That's 297th in the country. And you look at Providence, they've won 3 of their last 4. Their only loss was that tough loss to UConn. But they bounced back. They beat the shit out of Georgetown. They covered the 6.5-point spread there, 88-68 win. They're putting up 78.8 points per game. So they're up there too, 29th in the country, allowing 70.1, 192nd. Even though Xavier has been good on the road, like I said, 7-3 this year, not so much of lately. They've lost 3 of their last 4, and they're just light on defense, in my opinion. You look at this Xavier team; they're just light on defense. I think Providence does what they did the first game. First time these teams met, Providence connected on 45% of their threes. Also, you guys said it, 15-0 at home. I'm not going against 15-0 at home, so for me, it's Providence or pass, and I decided to pass.
A pass off the top. We do have 2 spots that Dabby Cab is moving on that aren't part of our schedule that we will talk about at the end. I meant to include it, but I was a little caught up with anger over the last 24 hours. So there's the first spot on the board. Xavier, Providence, no move. Newkirker says the Musketeers have run a rotation of just 7 players with Fremantle and guards Kai Tandy and Cam Kraft out due to injury. Swiss Horton says Providence folded against St. John's. Matt Paulin says Providence is a good home team, but I'm leaning Xavier with the points. All right. No movement for us in Xavier Providence. Let's move on to the next spot on the board and head over to the SEC and the number 2 ranked team in the nation, Alabama, in play at home, and Auburn coming off an ass kicking. This opened up at Pinnacle -9 for Alabama. They moved to 9.5. Let's go over to Bet Online. They opened up at 9. Now it's 10. And totals wise, this opened up at 151. It's gone up 3 points to 154. So we expect to see the bigger bets on Alabama and bigger bets on the over. Let's see if that is the case. Line history is given to Alabama, about 45% line history, 6,853 tickets in. But the big bets are coming in on Auburn, 34% of the tickets, 64% of cash. The books don't seem concerned by that. 54% of tickets, 55% of cash on the under, yet it's gone up 3 points. All right, so Auburn comes in off its second loss in 3 games, 86-54 at Kentucky on Saturday as 5.5-point dogs. It was ugly. They shot 33.9% from the field and 33.3% from three. Very similar numbers when they lost to Auburn back on February 11th at home. As 2-point favorites, they lost badly. They shot 32.3 from the field and 29.2 from three in that loss. Are you able to trust that Auburn can hit their shots? Alabama comes in its third straight win, 86-83 at home over Arkansas on Saturday, 7.5-point favorites. And do you trust that Auburn can change what happened in the first time they met? Take it away for us, Dabby Cab. Auburn Tigers at Alabama Crimson Tide.
I'm going to start by saying this. I have opinions on every game, and I have 5 bets today. I don't have one on this, and I'm going to say why, because there's so much shit going on right here. And I know we all know about what's going on outside, but here, let's really quick. I'll talk about the outside issues, right? Allegations and whatnot. And I don't give a shit. I don't know. And if I did know, I wouldn't say anything anyways. But what I do know is Alabama's at home. And I don't think that is going to have as much of an impact on them right now as it does in the tournament coming up. I think that's something that we definitely want to watch out for coming up. Here against Auburn at home, a team that they hate, I don't know. I don't know if it really, you're not going to have as many haters it's not going to show, right? Last game, Bama, they were terrible from deep. They were only 3 from 22 from deep. But you look at this Auburn squad, they've lost 5 of their last 7. They're 19-10 overall, 9-7 in the SEC. They're currently holding a projected 10th seed. So this game has a lot of weight for them with that projected 10th seed. They could easily drop out. They were dominated by Kentucky, like you were saying, and I loved it. I was all over Kentucky. Kentucky was one of my best bets on the Saturday NCAA Pub Hub, which I know we got to get the fucking record up here, but 27-15 on the NCAA Pub Hub. Thanks to Kentucky for coming through with the first half full game casher this weekend. But Bama on the other side, they've lost 3 of their last 4 ATS also. And Auburn's lost 5 of their last 6. With all this going on in this game, I lean Bama. I'm not betting this shit.
I was talking to my friend Damien. He's like, look, if I asked you to bring me my gun and you brought it to me, would you get in trouble for that? I was like, no, I guess you're right.
I mean, if any of my friends asked, they're going to get what they need.
And there's nothing illegal about that.
Oh.
So I mean, I don't know. Look, what happened with the gun? I mean, how's that Brandon Miller? So I don't think there's going to be any more repercussions. I think he plays and he's fine.
Yeah.
That's how I see it now. But I needed a friend to reframe the situation a little bit. For me. But back to this spot, I can understand the trepidation here. You don't want to fade a team that. Do you believe Auburn has heart? One, do you believe Auburn's capable of hitting buckets? 2?
No and no.
Well, then they should be stomped on right now. What's keeping you away from thinking that Alabama's going to stomp on them?
Both of these teams have just been too inconsistent against the spread here. I've enjoyed my certain spots. Like I said, with Kentucky, I was all over them against Auburn. But here, I don't know. It's just a little much for me here.
All right, no action here on the first 2 spots. It does make me very uncomfortable, Lee, that is the case. Likely in net, hey? Fuck. Let me sit with that for a second. Let's move on to this spot here. 7 p.m. Eastern, we have the next game where we have full line value. We have full line value on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Number 21 ranked Terps, 29, 11-7 in the Big Ten. Ohio State, 12-17, 4-14 in the Big Ten. We're Value City Arena in Columbus, Ohio. Let's take a look at the line history for this one. We have very small line. Maryland opening up at Pinnacle at -2.5, and the move has been towards Ohio State. Maryland now 1-point favorites. Let's see what Bet Online did. Probably a bigger move than that. Bet Online opened up, exact same move. Ohio State +2.5. Now Ohio State's +1. Total wise, it's opened up at 139. We've dropped 2 points down to 137. We know that Ohio State has full line value, so we expect the big bets on Ohio State. And of course, we expect the big bets on the under as it's dropped 2 points. Let's see if that's the case. Full line value, 8,279 tickets in. And yes, 54% of the tickets and 74% of cash on Ohio State. And the books have shown some discomfort. 50% of the tickets on the under and 94% of the cash. So sharp money on the under, sharp money on Ohio State. Johnny Gunn says, I wanted to point Maryland, but it just seems too easy. Am I missing something? Ohio State has been so inconsistent. Troy Torrance says this is OSU versus Maryland. Seems like the books are trying not to set OSU as a favorite, so we don't have the unranked home favorite narrative. Johnny Gunn says take the under and call it good. Maryland comes off its second straight win, 75-59 at home over Northwestern Sunday, 7-point favorites. Ohio State comes in off snapping their 9-game losing streak in a 72-60 victory at home over Illinois' 4-point dogs on Sunday. Ohio State lost 80-73 at Maryland back on January 8th. Back on January 8th, there were people who thought Ohio State might have a good basketball team. They were just 1.5-point dogs at Maryland in that game. Take it away, Dabby Cab. Do you agree with the sharp action here on the Buckeyes and the under?
I thought Ohio State had a good basketball team, and one thing, they do have some good players. Okay, Zedke, Sensabaugh, they've got talent, but how that translated didn't show up. And look, I'm not going to go against full line value here, but I completely understand why people are leaning Maryland, and I also understand why you think Maryland's a trap here. Right now Maryland's a lock for the tournament after beating Purdue, Penn State, Northwestern. They have a 10-9 record versus quad 1 and quad 2 teams, pretty good. But they're still playing for a higher seed. They're still playing for something here. On the other side, OSU, they shot 54% in their upset win against Illinois, which is pretty damn good. They were only 3 of 14 from 3, though. It's their defense that was on point. They held Illinois to only 36% shooting, and that's a good Illinois shooting team. But you look, before that game, this is an OSU team that lost 9 straight, including 4 straight at home. So it's not like they were one of those teams like Maryland who protects their home court, then goes out on the road and sucks. And like I just said, we'll touch on that. Maryland only has 1 conference win on the road, but it's not like they've been getting blown out, okay? They lost to a pretty good Nebraska team in overtime. They lost to Purdue by 3. They lost to Michigan State by 5. So they have been competitive on the road. And one other thing they're playing for right here is a double bye in the tournament. So, I mean, Maryland has a lot fucking more to play for than Ohio State does. So for me, I'm not going against full line value, but I mean, Maryland's got a lot to play for right here. I don't know what Ohio State's playing for.
Yeah, that last line just kind of punched me in the stomach.
I'm sorry.
No, but I think there's a ton of truth in it. That's why I did. But I mean, the Terps, they don't win on the road.
They don't.
And Ohio State has some confidence. I mean, if Illinois and Maryland are playing in the tournament in a neutral location, who do you think wins that game?
Illinois.
Yeah. So it was pretty impressive, I think, what Ohio State did.
I thought Ohio State was a good basketball team, Jimmy. They've got the talent. I think Ohio State's got a more talented roster than Maryland. I'll just go out there and say that right now.
Well, I'm going to move on the sharp sides for both of these spots. So I'm going to move on Ohio State and the under as soon as this show's over. The books are showing fear. I mean, this all correlates for me. So I'm going to move on Ohio State and the under. But I don't have to do that if I want to be even. I could just move on Ohio State and Maryland team total under. I could just do that here. I just want to very, very quickly just see exactly what that number is. I'm certainly not going to triple up the Maryland team.
The under is probably a good play too, like just the under in general.
Yeah, because we don't trust Ohio shooting. Mark Nick says if this is a senior night, this will be could be a big spot for Ohio State. Look, I think that their losing streak caught us all by surprise a bit. I wish we had taken better advantage of it and not tried to catch, a falling knife, which is what we were doing. But let's just take a quick look at Ohio State's last couple games of the season here.
The books were telling us the same thing against Illinois. They were telling us to bet that they didn't want us to bet Ohio State. It felt like the exact same game. I mean, I don't know if it was with you or if it was, my days get run together. I don't know where. I think it was, I capped it somewhere and I had the same feeling. It's like Ohio State, right? Like, but that last time was when they were on a 9-game losing streak. So how the fuck are you going to sit here and say Ohio State against Illinois when they're on a 9-game losing streak?
Yeah, I think that it's the spot here. I do. But I mean, like the best players for Ohio State, I mean, we're not talking, I guess, just Justice. It's Justice's last game. So I guess it does mean last home game. Yeah, I'm clinched here. I'm Ohio State and the under. Let's move on and let's move over to SEC, to a team you've had a very good eye on, Kentucky Wildcats, a team that I'm still interested in backing in the tournament. And I know a lot of people are not, but I still am. Now, I backed them last year in the tournament, and I came third. Remember, Pub Sports Radio is going to have a bracket that we're all going to do. I came third. I believe third. I forget. I think I came third and I lost my winner in the first round, Kentucky. It was all between Kentucky or Kansas for me, and I took Kentucky. I took Kansas going all the way, but I still think Kentucky can win when the pressure's on. We'll see. We're in Rupp Arena here, Lexington, Kentucky. Vanderbilt 16-13, 9-7 in the conference. Kentucky now ranked 23rd in the nation, 29, 11-5 in conference. Let's take a look at the line history here for this spot. Then we're going to get into NEC action. Let me get this Kentucky spot up here.
Damn, are all 5 of my bets towards the end of the card? Oh, well, at least we got action coming.
Oh, it's all good. I know you got the great action for us today. I'm excited. Don't worry. No pressure. Kentucky opening up at -10. That's exactly where they are. A 1-cent move at Pinnacle. Let's see Bet Online. Opening up -10.5. There's been a half-point move towards Vanderbilt. Total-wise, it's opened up at 147.5. It's dropped 2 points to 145.5. You have to wonder, do the books expect, Kentucky to come back a little bit to earth after that smash and grab over Auburn as 5.5-point favorites? Let's go to the cash flow here and see if that leads us to okay, here we go. 4,738 tickets in. And yes, the big bets are on Vanderbilt. 29% of the tickets, 56% of the cash, 55% of the tickets, and 93% of the cash on the under. It's a lot of money for the under, and we've seen this total drop 2 points. So Vandy bounced back from their 84-77 loss at LSU by defeating Florida at home on Saturday, 88-72 as 3.5-point favorites. Kentucky comes in off their 4th straight win, 86-54 at home over Auburn as 5.5-point favorites, and they won very comfortably at Vanderbilt back on January 24th. Russell and AD both ruled out, says Lee Davis, which is what we were discussing in the show and what makes the show so important. So thank you for confirming that AD will be out, Lee, my man. Slow Jam says Vandy runs into a buzzsaw Kentucky double-up spot. Take it away for us here, Dabby Cab, SEC action, Commodores, Wildcats.
I want to second what you were saying. It was Dutch. I was talking to our guy Dutch. Shout out Dutch Boy Fresh. I was talking to him on the phone about something the other day, and probably the Delusional Eats dinner. And I told him, he was asking me, he was like, "Who's somebody that you think is going to make a run?" I said, "Kentucky." He goes, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah, I think Kentucky's about to make a run. I really do. I think I've got that feeling." I kind of felt North Carolina like heating up last year. I know I was on them against Duke, at home, even though it was Coach K's last game, which was fucking crazy. But I felt North Carolina heating up. I feel the same thing with Kentucky right here. Kentucky, I really think they're starting to turn up. They've gone from one of the first teams out to a predicted 8th seed right now. With 2 games left, they still have time to move up. And you look at what this team's doing. They're 4th in the SEC in scoring, 3rd in field goal percentage, 1st in 3-point percentage. They're allowing 67 points per game. And without question, they're playing their best basketball right now. They're finally getting healthier. They're playing their best basketball of the year right now. And Sheboy is finally starting to look like that national player of the year that he looked like last year. He's starting to play some dominant basketball. Right now, for their last 5 games, they've covered ATS, and I've actually been on them 3 of those 4. Vandy's been playing good ball. Vandy swept Florida. They beat Florida both games. beat a lowly South Carolina team. They beat Auburn. They had that loss against LSU, but won 4 of their last 5. Vandy's been playing good, and 10 might seem like a high spread and like a chance to like get on a hot Vandy team. I disagree. I might add Kentucky here one way or the other, first half or full game by the end of the day. I think Kentucky's getting hot at the right time. I think they're ready to make some noise.
Yeah, I guess that'll keep me off Vandy. Sky Dragon, yesterday we did the A-Sun. Today we're doing the NEC. We're going to do all 4 games of the NEC right now. And then we're going to go back to a couple Power 5 spots to close out the show. And then Dabby Cab has 2 spots that he's adding. So, yes, we're about to go through the NEC tourney. Interesting. And I guess that's it. New Warrior saying Vandy lost that by 7 at LSU. I guess you just can't trust them on the road. And if Kentucky's going to stay hot, I can stay off of it. What do you think about this under here? It's dropped 2 points. A lot of big bets on the under.
Yeah, I got no problem with the under in this spot right here. I think Kentucky plays lockdown defense today on Vandy. I don't think Vandy's able to score a lot. I think Vandy struggles putting up points in this game.
All right, let's roll. DC Capper on TCU -2.5. We will discuss that game, but now we're going into NEC coverage. We're going to go into the NEC tournament right now, all 4 games of the quarters. Then we're going to close out with Texas TCU and Penn State Northwestern. So let's head over to the small schools. So let me reiterate what I said off the top, because the first game, because it's all very, very important. Merrimack, 12-4 in the NEC, ranked number 1 in the conference, can't play in the tournament, which opens the door wide open for Fairleigh Dickinson. So it's very possible that Fairleigh Dickinson beats St. Francis Brooklyn here, wins in the semis, and Merrimack plays after them. If they win here, then in their locker room, they will then know that they are in the tournament with no net cutting. Then they'll have to play Merrimack in the conference finals when they've already clinched the berth. You have to get on Merrimack as soon as possible, if that's the situation, because Merrimack cares a lot about winning the conference, and they hate these archaic rules. And there's been changes now to the rules thanks to Merrimack, but we can talk more about that another time. Let's get to work here. Northeast Conference Tournament quarterfinal, Long Island University Sharks. So these first 2 games that we're going to talk about, not this first one. This one, let's just start with this one. These guys just met. They just played Saturday night. 80-59 win from Merrimack at Long Island as 12.5-point favorites. So they just smashed this team by 21 points on Saturday night. Long Island University Sharks are terrible. 3-25, 1-15 in the conference. Merrimack 15-16, 12-4 in conference. This Merrimack team, so we're in Lawler Arena in North Andover, Massachusetts, but this Merrimack team went 0-13 against Div 1 competition to start the year. So a big turnaround by this basketball team. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. LIU Merrimack, and there those angles that are existing here with Merrimack not being able to play the tournament are going to be important for our cap throughout this tournament. Whether or not you want to use it now, Merrimack opened up at -16.5, now at -17.5. Totals wise, it's opened up at 132.5. It's up a point to 133.5. Let's go into the cash flow for this spot. We have slight line value on Merrimack, 90% of the tickets on Merrimack, and 73% of the cash. So there are some bigger bets that have been placed on Long Island. 88% of tickets, 95% of cash on the over, and yet it's dropped. So Long Island coming off their 7th straight loss, Merrimack coming off their 8th straight win, and Merrimack also beat Long Island at home 76-59 earlier this year, which is exactly where the spread is right now, 17 points. Ron Crawford joining us. Spreadsheet play today, Rangers in regulation, and Pitt -4 against Notre Dame. Shoot, let me copy and paste. Copy and paste that right now. Thank you for sharing that with us, Ron. Take it away here, Dabby Cab. Game 1, the lowest seed against the top seed in the Northeast Conference. Floor is yours.
Man, both of these teams, and you'll see what you were talking about with the Warriors here. The Sharks 4-10 their last 14 ATS. The Warriors 5-13-1 their last 19 home games. But They've turned it around, 5-1 against the spread their last 6. And I don't have it in front of me, but I'm pretty sure they beat Long Island by this number twice this season, actually. I think they would have covered it both of their games, not just the last one. Warriors are putting up 61.3 points per game. Excuse me, sorry. 41.1% shooting. They're allowing 61.8 points on defense on only 42.7% shooting. And when you look at this, Long Island, their defense is giving up 79.6 points on 47.2% shooting. Just terrible defense. Super tough game here to think about getting involved with, especially with the fact that, the Warriors would have covered this twice already this season, or already have. But I think, shit. I think with it being, the end of the season, you got 3 seniors on this roster here for Long Island. If there's ever something to get up to play for, it's a fucking tournament. So, 17.5 points is a lot of points in tournament. I'd lean Long Island, but I'm not betting this.
All right. So how do you think, and DC Capper sharing his action, how do you think this, do you believe that Merrimack is going to take this conference tournament very, very seriously because they can't get in to
this is their season, Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
This is it. This is everything that they have to play for.
I agree. I think they're going to win this tournament. And they've done impressive. Joey Gallo's done impressive work with this squad. 0-13 against Div 1 to start out the year. Dan, I'm very interested in that. I've copied and pasted it. Be nice to have that action in heading into our Sunday show, live stream show. It'd be nice to also have it while we're with the horses going on as well. But back here to this spot, for whatever reason, I don't really want Merrimack here after just smash and grabbing Long Island. I expect them to do it again, but it's just not quite the right setup for me. I would prefer if they had a tougher game against somebody else, and then we're playing Long Island to start the tournament. We're going to ramp it up. Let's just see what it is first half for Merrimack, because that'll give you an idea if the books are concerned about this spot. So let's just go to the point spread first half. It's at 9. It's 9.5 minus 121 at Pinnacle. So it's a 10. I'm going to stay off of that. Robert Franklin looking at Utah State. We're going to discuss that spot. Cabby is on that game. All right. No move for us here in that first game, but very important to know the situation that Merrimack's dealing with, because we're going to be talking about this conference for the rest of the week. Next up for us, another quarterfinal, and the number 2 ranked team in the conference, Fairleigh Dickinson Knights, 17-14, 10-6 in conference, playing St. Francis Brooklyn Terriers, 7-9 in conference. We're at the Rothman Center in Teaneck, New Jersey. Let's go to the line history here for this one. And we have Fairleigh Dickinson opening up at -8.5 at Pinnacle. They're now -9. But this just moved to -9, 10:49. It had dropped the other way. It had gone to 8. Let's see what BetOnline's done with it. They've opened this up at -8. It's now -9.5. So a big move towards Fairleigh Dickinson here. Total opening up at 145. It's dropped a 1.5 to 143. Cash-wise for this one, 942 tickets in. And again, we have the bigger bets on the dog here. St. Francis Brooklyn Terriers, 12% of tickets, 37% of the cash. Now only 942 tickets in. 50-50 for the tickets on the total, but 92% of cash is on the over, and it's dropped a 1.5. So confusing market analysis there. Okay, here's the other one. I knew there was. So these teams also just faced each other on Saturday. Just faced each other. It was an 86-69 Fairleigh Dickinson win at home as 7.5-point favorites. They beat up on St. Francis of Brooklyn 76-57 earlier this year. So just like the game we just spoke of, Fairleigh Dickinson won by 17 on Saturday. They won by 19 at St. Francis of Brooklyn. What do you think here? Take it away. Northeastern Conference Tournament quarterfinals, Dabby Cab. Terriers, Knights.
Okay, I know I went the opposite way on the last one, but I can kind of keep this one quick. I'd stick with Dickinson here. I mean, I don't know if I'd usually like them here, but they just beat the shit out of this team, and they did it both times. They dominated them both times they played this year. St. Francis has struggled in the last couple games, especially on the road. On the road, this team has just been off. In a tournament, like I said, everybody's going to bring their best ball, and I don't think St. Francis's best is going to be enough here. I'd take Dickerson or nothing, so I'm off.
Again, the only thing that concerns me is just the domination that we've just seen. And the bigger bets coming in on the other side. I don't want the Terriers, but I guess that's going to end up keeping me off. And then I'm also very curious to see how Fairleigh Dickinson handles the pressure here. They know that there's 2 pretty easy wins away from being in the tournament. And so we'll have to see in the semis and see what that spread is for them in the semis. So important notes. Let's move on to the next spot in the Northeast Conference Tournament quarterfinal. And we're in Loretto, Pennsylvania, home of St. Francis, Pennsylvania. And I think St. Francis, Pennsylvania, we all know that they have scores on their team, and they can be dangerous in this tournament. I really believe that. But they'll have to get through Central Connecticut first. Let's take a look at the line history here for the NEC quarters over here and see what we are dealing with. We have St. Francis and the market moving awards, and this makes sense to me. Market moving awards, St. Francis, they opened up -2.5, now -4.5. A big move. Big move. And another move just happened literally 20 minutes ago. Let's go over to Bet Online and see what they've done with this. Maybe has it moved too much now? Opened up at -2, now -4.5. They're gotta hate being this late to the party. And I knew I was interested in this spot. Let's see if the cash correlates here for us on this spot. It does. 1,299 tickets in, 59% of the tickets, 67% of the cash on St. Francis, Pennsylvania. 33% of tickets and 57% of cash on the over. So bigger bets coming in on the over as well. And the total has gone from 142. It dropped a half point to 141.5. So Central Connecticut comes in off its second straight loss, 69-67 at home to Sacred Heart on Saturday as 1-point favorites. St. Francis had their 3-game winning streak snapped in a 68-58 loss at home to Wagner on Saturday at a pick'em. Clearly, they were thinking about this game. And they've defeated Central Connecticut 80-72 at home earlier in the year. But then they lost at Central Connecticut badly. They lost January 28th as 1.5-point dogs. They lost, I don't have it in front of me, but I believe they lost, I think it was 88-72 or something like that. That makes me want to back St. Francis. I think they come in here sharp. I think they take care of business. Let's hear what Debbie Cab has to say. Northeast Conference Tournament quarterfinal in Central Connecticut, St. Francis.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. Central Connecticut, they're only putting up 65.9 points per game. That's just, not good. They allow 69.7, whereas St. Francis on the other side, putting up 73.4 points per game. They do allow 74 points against, so they struggle there. But this Central Connecticut team is just 1-4 against the spread last 5 road games. These two teams did split in season, which is important to note. That's why you've got such a close spread. And in a game where two teams split, sometimes you want to look towards the better defense, but I can't call Central Connecticut's defense I guess their numbers are better, but I'm not going to call them a good defense. So with all that being said, I think St. Francis is just going to outrun them here and outscore them. I like St. Francis here. Even with the movement, I still like them.
So do I. I really just hate being so late to the party here, but I like them too, and I'd like to move on them. And I'm wondering if it's a double up spot. I'm certainly thinking of doubling up here on them. All right, let's move on to the final game here in the Northeast. I will decide here shortly if it is a double up spot. I feel late to the party on it, but I think that if any team, if you think any team can get hot here, you want a team with real scores, and this team has it, at least in comparison to the other teams in the conference. All right, let's move on to the final game here. Wagner Sacred Heart. And we've had looks from Cappers in the chat, looks on Wagner already. Also, DC Capper is on the under 130 in Wagner Sacred Heart. This is the quarterfinal match in the NEC. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one, Wagner Sacred Heart. Very little movement in this one. Wagner opening up as 2-point dogs. There's been a 4-cent move towards Sacred Heart. Let's take a look at the total. This total opened up at 128 at Pinnacle. See what Bet Online did. Bet Online opened this up at 129, but it did get to 130, and that's what DC Capper moved on. It did get up to 130, about 3 hours after the line came out. Since then, it's dropped 2.5 points to 127.5. Great work, DC Capper, getting that 130. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. Then we're going to go into a couple big games and then 2 spots that Dabby Cab is betting. We have 891 tickets in, 44% of the tickets, 47% of cash on Wagner. It's pretty split in the movement, not a lot of movement. 54% of tickets, 65% cash on the over, but it's dropping. So Robert Freeney just canceled his Avalanche bet. Because of the backup. Okay, we'll get into all that here.
You say the money's on the over and the total's dropping?
Yes, it's but we don't have a lot of tickets in, 891, and the first move was to the over. So since that move, it's being hammered on the under. So, but it did move initially to the over. Wagner coming in off its second straight win. We just spoke about it. They beat St. Francis, Pennsylvania, in Loretto, 68-58 on Saturday. Sacred Heart snapped their 2-game losing streak, just squeaked by Central Connecticut, but they did it on the road, 69-67. Take it away for us here. We're at the William H. Pitt Center in Fairfield, Connecticut, home of the Sacred Heart Pioneers. The floor is yours.
So what this is going to be, I'm usually on sides here, but what this is going to trend me to is actually going to be the total. You look at Wagner, they're putting up an average of 63.5 points, while their defense is only giving up 61.5 points per game. Hunt's been their top player. He's averaging 11.3 points per game, shooting 37.2%. He's been all right from behind the arc, a little lower percentage, though, only 29.2. On the other side here, Sacred Heart, they've got that 15-16 record. They're only 13-17 against the spread here, so they've been struggling there. You talked about their last game against Central Connecticut, but they have been putting up 71.1 points per game while their defense is allowing 71.8. So their defense struggles a little bit, and that's where it gets into this total with me here. Since Sacred Heart's defense struggles, I think Wagner's play is going to be to slow the pace down. I think they're really going to try and slow this game just way, way, way down to a crawl, which is why I like the under in this game. I think we see an extremely slow game played here.
Yeah. And you're with DC Capper on that one as well. Let's see what we can. Do you want to make this official here?
No.
Okay, you're going to stay off making it official, but you like it.
I do, yes.
So let's just see what the line is if you wanted to move on this under.
Mike M just said under. Wagner 8 in a row and have gone under 122.
Wow. All right. But no move at this point. A lot of talk about this kid in net for Colorado. What is the market move since that has happened? Yeah, big move towards the Devils. Georgiev. I looked at the schedule. They have back-to-back games coming up in 2 or 3 days. Like, I believe it's Saturday, Sunday. I think the game against the Kraken is the second half of back-to-back. So I thought, of course, Georgiev was going to play today. Of course he's going to play because of the back-to-back coming up Saturday, Sunday. That really got me right in the drink hole. Rocco Rogers liking the numbers. I mean, you have to focus on the AHL numbers, and we can do that. And Sakic's got a good eye generally with goaltenders. But all right, let's move on then. The only look for me in the whole SEC, Lee Davis said they've been running him into the ground. I saw 5 straight games. I mean, I was like, come on, he's gonna be forced a break on the weekend. But that obviously was my mistake. Hurts. I'm gonna move on St. Francis, Pennsylvania. Is it a first half full game spot? It might be. Let's move on to the final 2 games here and then 2 additions for our Dabby Cab. We move on to Big 12 action. Number 9 ranked Texas Longhorns, 22-7, 11-5 in conference at TCU Horned Frogs, 19-10, 8-8 in conference. We're in Fort Worth, Texas for this one. Let's head over to the line history here for this one. Texas TCU. This is a big one. This is a big one for Dabby Cab's part of the country. We have TCU opening up at -2. They're now -3. That's at Pinnacle. Over at Bet Online, TCU opening up at -1 are now 2.5-point favorites. Totals wise, it's opened up at 150. We have a drop to 149.5. It has gone to 150 a couple times and then dropped again to 149.5. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. We have line value on TCU, 8,585 tickets in. Big bets coming in on TCU, 56% of the tickets, 79% of cash, and the market seems concerned. 48% of tickets and 88% of cash on the under, and it keeps coming back up to 150. And look at that. Fanatical Jim says Abs just got Lars Eller from the Caps too. So then I wonder if that changed the... No, that's still Ducks are still plus 165. All right, so that's the situation. Texas had their 2-game winning streak snapped in an 81-72 loss to Baylor on Saturday as 4-point dogs. TCU comes off its second win in 3 games, 83-82 at Texas Tech on Saturday as 2-point dogs. TCU lost at Texas 79-75 as 6-point dogs back on January 11th. Take it down for it. Let's hear Dabby Cab, Texas, TCU.
I hate hearing when such big bets are against where I'm going. And I've also seen great cappers in the chat that are on TCU. And I get it. Everything aligns for this to be a TCU spot right here. Texas is 4-5 in true road games. But I want to touch on one thing. This is a Texas team that is finally healthy. I mean, just completely healthy across the board. I know Mike Miles Jr. is back for TCU, but they're still not completely healthy, especially their front court. Lampkin's been playing, but he's been playing injured. And without TCU's front court, TCU is not a good basketball team. Mike Miles Jr. and their front court are the two things that TCU has going for them. They're not stellar on offense. They're not stellar on defense. Whereas you look at Texas, they're 26th in scoring offense. They're 35th in field goal percentage. And TCU at home, 12-4. So they've been a good home team, but this is right down the road from Austin. I know we talk about road games and this, that, or the other, and TCU's still on their home court, but this isn't really that big of a deal. This isn't much of a trip for Texas to come to TCU. We're right up the road from each other. And like I said, TCU struggles so much to show me anything on both sides of the ball. And with their front court being questionable today, I think Texas is able to not only cover the spread, probably win. I think Texas controls the pace of this game. And I think Texas's depth, like I'm talking about, the depth that they're going to have coming off their bench is going to come into play. I took Texas in the first half. I took the points both in the first half and in the full game. I kind of think Texas could be a money line play here, but I took the points, so that's where I'm at.
Wow, and you're getting a love from the chat. Now, BJ says TCU's his favorite bet of the day, but Johnny Gunn says I think Texas gets a season sweep again. Says TCU has beat Texas once in the last 5 meetings. Alfred liking Texas. Wow. Okay. After some more thought, I am quite interested in that Wagner Sacred Heart under 128's available for me. BJ putting up $500 on it. It's a big bet. That's a big bet on that. Maybe Dabby Cab just talked me off of TCU. And I'm okay being talked off of TCU. I think that's what just happened. Damon Forbes liking TCU. My plan was to move on TCU, but I can stay off of this spot. Lee Davis wanting a Texas A&M Corpus Christi opinion from Cab. We can. I'll copy and paste that. We can talk about that after Cab's 2 spots that he wants to add. So are you making Texas official here?
Yeah, first half, full game, both. I'll take both. Look, I know this is one of those spots. I know. Like before I hear your, I don't pay the $1,500 that you pay for the.
I don't pay it.
Okay, well, I don't have it either way. So, or I don't pay it or have it is what I'm getting at. So I don't have that, but I sure like hearing it with you. And I've come into this kind of starting to. I expected that on this one. I expected to hear what I hear. I don't like hearing it, but that's kind of what I expected here. And usually I stay away from it. Like you, I think it's best to just stay away from those situations. But personally, I've had success in some of these spots like throughout the year. And this is just one of them where I got to go with it.
All right. Well, let's line shop for you. First off, full game on Texas. You're getting a +3 -105 available at 5 dimes. So Cab full game +3 -105. Then first half action. Let's go over the first half and see what we can get you, Cab. Double up spot for Dabby Cab. So we had with Dabby Cab on the double up spot on Texas, and we had Durrell on the triple up spot on the Knicks. See how these spots pay out. But here, where am I? First half for Texas, we have a plus 1.5, minus 110 right across the board. So first half plus 1.5. Okay, well, I won't go up against you. All right, let's move on. Yes, I agree, Sammy. I agree. Absolutely agree. Okay, let's move on here. Next up for us, 9 p.m. Eastern, Penn State, 17-12, 8-10 in conference at Northwestern, 29-11-7 in conference. Welsh Ryan Arena in Edmonton, Illinois. What's up?
I have another game, if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's cool. So don't worry. We'll
Okay.
Why don't you start with the third game that we haven't added, and then we'll go from there. But let's get this Penn State Northwestern one in. Take a look at the line history. There's been very little line movement in this one. Northwestern opening up. Well, I can take that back. -3. They've moved to -4 at Pinnacle. Sorry, I thought there was none. I guess I was looking at the first half lines. Bet Online's gone bigger, -2.5 to -4. So a big move towards Northwestern. Totals wise, it's opened up at 134 and has not moved. So let's see. Are we going to see bigger bets on Northwestern? And the reason for the books to be uncomfortable, and well, yes, but also the public's all over them. So Penn State has line value according to Sports Insights, 5,451 tickets in, but 86% of tickets, 84% of cash on Northwestern, market moving towards them. Then 42% of tickets and 85% of cash on the under, and there's been no movement on that total. Penn State had their 3-game winning streak snapped in a 59-56 loss at home to Rutgers. Sunday is 4-point favorites. Northwestern comes in off its second straight loss, 75-59 at Maryland on Sunday, 7-point dogs. This is their lone game against Penn this year. Take it away for us here, Dabby Cab, Penn State, Northwestern.
Yeah, a little bit on this Penn State team really quick, and I kind of expected people to be all around Northwestern. Northwestern's been making anybody who's been backing them money lately. Penn State here, though, 14th adjusted offensive efficiency. They have the lowest turnover in college basketball, which is amazing. I love that. Ninth best effective field goal percentage. And they're going against a Northwestern team who, excels against defense. So that's what we're going to see here. Northwestern's 25th in adjusted defense efficiency. I talk about this every time I talk about Penn State. Jalen Pickett is a future NBA star. Pay attention to the kid. He's putting up 18.5 points per game, 7.3 rebounds per game, and 6.8 assists per game. So he's damn near averaging a triple-double every game, which is just outstanding if you look at it like that. And Northwestern, they've struggled on the offensive end. They're 313th in field goal percentage. And they're going against a Penn State defense that is above average here. I think that Penn State, actually, as much as I hate to say it, and I know that going against Northwestern has been like beating your head against a wall, I think Penn State's kind of a good look here. I'm not personally going to bet this one, but Penn State should be fighting for their fucking lives. And that's one of the main things that you got to talk about in these games here. Their tournament life is on the line right now. Like, if they want any kind of hope of anything, they can't lose at all. They can't lose. It can't be a good game. Like, they can't lose. So with the team that's, fighting for their life, I'd look Penn State here or pass.
Interesting. A lot of money on Northwestern. At least the books are moving in that direction. Okay. Well, I guess Jake Burns says screw Penn State after that last game, but I know if I take Northwestern, Penn State will win outright. Mark Nick leaning heavily towards the Wildcats, coming off 2 losses, coming off a bad loss too. I was thinking I was going to move on Northwestern, but now I'm hesitant.
They're coming back home off 2 losses. They're coming home off 2 losses. So if you want to look at situational, they're coming home off 2 losses. It's a good spot for them.
It is, but I'm hesitant. At least you're not betting the other side. All right, I'll put a couple question marks beside it and see if I should move on or not. All right, there's one game that you didn't that I don't know about that you want to make a move on. So why don't you start there, and then I'll set up the next 2 games for you.
Okay, what did I give you?
You gave me Kansas State and Utah State.
Oh, okay, yeah, perfect. I want to talk about the Pittsburgh game here real quick.
Pitt, Notre Dame,
I want to give you the time. I have all the information. I want to give you the time so I can give a good, proper introduction. Hold on, let me make sure I know the time. What time does this game kick off?
I believe it's an early one, right? 7 or something?
Yeah, I think so. Here it is. 7 Eastern, 6 p.m. Okay, so it's number 25 Pittsburgh, 21-8, going up against a Notre Dame team that's been, super lackluster. Covering the spread, though. Notre Dame 10-19 here. It is Notre Dame senior night. I got this Pitt team as just, one of the most darling stories of the year, right? One of the best stories of this season. They're putting up 75.8 points per game, even with the slow tempo. They run a slow tempo and they still put up that many points. That's because they shoot 45% from the field, 35.9% from three. From the free throw line, they hit 77.1% of their free throws, and they get to the line 17.9 times per game. So this is a Pitt team that is aggressive, that's going to draw fouls, that's going to get to the line. Their defense holds teams to 68.4%, 68.4 points per game and 41.5% shooting. And this is a Notre Dame team that's shooting 35.8% from three, 44.5% from the field, and also run a slow pace. They're only putting up 69.8 points per game. And they struggle on defense. They get smashed in the paint. This is a Pitt team. So here we're talking about why. Why is Pitt? What do they have to play for right here? They're one game up right now. One game. They're ahead by one game on three different teams in the loss column in the ACC. Tonight, if Pitt wins tonight, they clinch what could be like a dual title, whatever you want to call it, like piece of the title. If they win both of their last two games, they're solo. They're champions solo. So Pitt's got a ton to play for here. And I know it's senior night, and Notre Dame has a few seniors on their team. I don't care. I think Pitt finishes their story that they started and they've been running with. So I got Pitt here -3.5.
Market's moving towards Notre Dame. When this line came out, I was like, God, it's fishy. Right off the hop, I was like, oh. I mean, it just feels like one of those games that Pittsburgh wins, but for whatever reason, they win by 2 or whatever, 3. Somehow the Sharps get their money. But I was surprised by the spread when it opened up. Notre Dame is slight line value. There's 5,884 tickets in. 57% of the tickets, 56% of the cash is on Pittsburgh. 71 and 95 on the under. And this one has moved at Pinnacle. It's been a 1-point move towards Notre Dame. And so even the 4 I thought was fishy. It's at 3 now. The opposite happened at Notre Dame, at Bet Online. But look at this. This opened up at 2.5 yesterday. Plus 2.5. By 4 p.m., there'd been a 2.5-point move towards Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was at -5. Then 3.5, up 4.5, back to 3.5. So from the opening line, there has been a 1-point move towards Pittsburgh. I get the breakdown. Let's line shop for you and get you that full game look on Pittsburgh. And we have a -3 now, as I said, at Pinnacle. -3, -113. That work?
Let's take it. Yep.
Okay, so Cab getting started here. So Cab's extras. We have Cab's extras. Pitt -3 at -113. All right, so let's move on to the next spot that you wanted to discuss. Thought I was over there, but I'm going to have to – okay, let's get over there quickly here. It is Oklahoma, Kansas State. This one pops off at 8 p.m. Eastern. Let's take a look at the situation here. Kansas State on a 3-game winning streak, coming off a 73-68 win at Oklahoma State on Saturday. Oklahoma on Saturday snapped their 2-game losing streak, winning at Iowa State 61-50. Excuse me. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. And we have a big move towards Kansas State. Kansas State opening up at minus, I think it was 5.5 at Bet Online. Just waiting for this. At Pinnacle, it was 6.5. It's now 7.5. Over at Bet Online, it opened up at 5.5, 7.5. So a 2-point move over there. Totals wise, this opened up at 140.5 and is now at 141. 140.5 now at 141. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. 6,751 tickets in. 87% of the tickets are on Kansas State and 74% of the cash. There are some bigger bets on Oklahoma, but the market clearly moving towards Kansas State. Then 65% of the tickets and 89% of the cash on the under. 65 and 89, and it's actually gone up a half point, so it's a little bit confusing there. Take it away for us here, Dabby Cab. Your look, Sooners at Wildcats. You're muted, my guy.
Sorry, Seamus. Well, that's Seamus's fault. They're poker addict. He threw me off with his comment in the chat talking about VR porn.
All right. Well, let's.
Anyways, back to the game. Okay. This is a spot right here. Oklahoma. They're only putting up 68 points per game. That's 273rd in the country. They do have it. They shoot at a high clip though. They just run a really slow pace. They're shooting 46.5%, which is 72nd. They allow 67.6. So they're a little above average on defense, 107th. They're 48th overall in adjusted efficiency. So they're good. But then you flip the side with K-State. This is a team that's 13th in adjusted defense efficiency. Those last 3 wins were huge against Oklahoma State, Baylor, and Iowa State because it came after losing 4 of their last 5. And like I said, in those 3 wins, they had Baylor, they had Iowa State. They went on the road and took down Oklahoma State. Now they're coming back home, and a lot of sharp money, I think, was on Oklahoma State in that game. And Oklahoma, I know they might be a better team than what their record indicates. I get it. But at this point in the season, I keep talking about it. What are they playing for? Oklahoma's not really playing for – they're not playing for much. Oklahoma's not playing for much, where Kansas State is playing for a ton. And this is also a revenge spot for Kansas State. They lost in the first matchup against Oklahoma. What I did here is I took Kansas State in the first half. I got Kansas State minus 3.5. And that's where I'm at. I think Kansas State's able to run away with this game and probably take it by 10 or 12 points.
All right. Well, let's lock you into first half action here on Kansas State. It's just going to get – okay, here we go. Kansas State first half. Sorry. It's at 8 o'clock start. We can get you -4 at -110.
I tweeted out the 3.5 if that works.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry.
Yesterday was a rare occasion where I didn't get it tweeted out because I wasn't moving as fast as usual.
Oh, so what did you tweet out Pitt at?
3.5, which is why, that's why when you were like, 3, I was like, yeah, if you want. Yeah, but I got it at 3.5.
Okay, and what was the juice on it?
Hold on, and I'll tell you right now. Pitt was 3.5, and I had to pay for it. It was -115.
-115, 3.5.
So that line's gone all over the place.
So Pitt's -3.5, -115. You got Kansas State first half -3.5, -110. What were your numbers on Texas?
Kansas State was actually -106. Texas was -105 full game, -110 first half.
And was that 1.5 and 3?
1.5 and 2.5.
Oh, you got 2.5 plus 2.5 full game, and that was at -110.
-105.
Okay, perfect. Okay, we're locked in there. Okay. All right, you are locked in. Kansas State first half -3.5, -106. So I won't line shop for you on your next game because you already tweeted it out. Let's discuss it right now. DGen special, 11 p.m. Eastern, Utah State Aggies at the UNLV running Rebels. Utah State winners of 3 straight, coming off beating Wyoming. And that was a while ago. They beat their last game, Utah State winning by 10 at Wyoming, was back on Thursday the 21st, right? Tuesday the 21st. So 8 days ago. 8 days ago was the last time Utah State won. It was their third straight win. UNLV snapped their 3-game losing streak, barely beating Air Force at home, 54-53. That was on Friday. We were on Air Force first half, and it was a very, very comfortable casher for us. But they snapped their 3-game losing streak. Let's take a look at the line history here for your spot at 11 p.m. And then we have a question on Texas A&M Commerce, which we'll go into. Lee Davis, a Texas capper himself, interested in that spot. But let's do this one here. We have very little, some line movement here. Utah State opening up at -2 at Pinnacle. They're now -3 over at Bet Online. Utah State opened up at -2. They're now -2.5. Totals wise, it's opened up at 150.5 and it's dropped to 148. So let's go over to the cash flow here for the late one. We have about 40% line value on Utah State, 79% of tickets, 76% of the cash on them. Then 59% of tickets and 77% cash on the over, but it's dropped a couple points. Take it away for us, Cab, your last spot on the board, Utah State at UNLV.
Yeah, so you kind of touched on it. Last time these two teams met, Utah State took a 9-point lead into half, but then they came out in the half, and this game got close. Both teams shot off the charts. Rebels shot 49%, the Aggies shot 51%. But UNLV has been struggling lately. They've only had 69 or less in their last 3 games. 71 or fewer in their last 5. So in their last 5 games, they put up 71 or fewer. You look into those last 5 games, they just snapped that 3-game losing streak, like you said. Even against Wyoming, Wyoming's decent defensively, but only put up 69 in the win against Wyoming, only put up 54 in the win against Air Force. This Utah State is a team who can score 80, 85 points on any given night, easily. They're putting up 117.5 points per 100 possessions. That's good for 17th in the country. And they're not like super lackluster on defense either. They're 89th on defense, 101.3 points per 100 possessions. They're putting up 78.4 points per game, which is good for 36th in the country. I just don't think UNLV is able to shoot even close to what they were able to do last time these two teams met. I think Utah State is able to do it because they proved it all year. They're a 47.8% shooting team, 31st in the nation. So, yeah, I got Utah State here first half, minus half a point.
And what was the juice?
Minus 115.
First half, minus a half, minus 115 for Utah State. Then we're going to review all action. But first, we have a question from Lee Davis, whom we love, who will be hanging out with us in San Antonio. He wants to know your thoughts on Texas A&M Corpus Christi at Texas A&M Commerce. Corpus Christi opening up at 4.5 this morning at Pinnacle. Let's go over to, and that's where it is now. But let's go over to Bet Online, who I imagine brought this out earlier. Yes, they brought it out yesterday at 2 p.m. So they've gone from -4 to -5 on Corpus Christi. Totals-wise, it's opened up at 148. It's dropped a point to 147. So let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. Just 866 tickets in. All we know is that 98% of cash is on Corpus Christi. Market's only moved a point. 60% of tickets on the over. We don't have a cash flow. Any feeling on this spot battle of Corpus Christi against Commerce?
I mean, so my initial feeling would have been Corpus Christi, but when you give me that much money on a team and a line not moving, then I'm instantly not interested. Yeah, I mean, I just think Corpus Christi is just the better team here. But it is a senior night for the Lions. So really, honestly, with what you just said about the cash, Corpus Christi, I would have given you a breakdown that would have trended everything towards Corpus Christi, but I'm not going to do that if 98% of the cash is against the
It moved 1 point at 8:54 a.m.
So it did move a little bit?
I Bet Online, it moved to 1 point. Yeah.
Okay, well, Corpus Christi, they're 4-0. Or if you look overall, 8-2 against the spread their last 10 games overall. So they've been good against the spread, whereas Texas A&M Commerce is only 3-8 their last 11 games overall. I mean, I think Corpus Christi should be able to win this game by this number pretty easily, honestly. I think it's a good spot for them. But like I said, I don't want to be with 98% of the cash, especially on a game that I wasn't really that interested in, if that makes sense.
Oh, it totally does. All right. Let's review all action here in college basketball. CAB is on Pitt -3.5, -115. Kansas State first half -3.5, -106. Utah State first half -0.5 at -115. I plan on moving on Northwestern and the under in Penn State Northwestern. I do want to look at it a little longer. CAB is on Texas. First half +1.5, -110. Full game +2.5 at -105. I'm interested in that under in Wagner Sacred Heart with you guys. I'm also going to move on St. Francis of Pennsylvania. Do I want them first half and full game? Is a decision I have to make. I think I do. Then we have looks from DC Capper. He's on that Sacred Heart under. He got 130. He's on DePaul +17.5, and he's on TCU -2.5. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play today is on Pittsburgh -4 and the Rangers in regulation. I'm going to be moving on the under in Vanderbilt, Kentucky, the Ohio State Buckeyes, and the under in that one. And that's it. That's it for me in college basketball. Let's do a review in NHL. I have 6 bets. I have some interest on one more, which I don't think I'll bother with. The interest was on Leafs team total under 3. I have the Oilers first period at +100 and the Oilers full game at +110. I'm on the Avalanche -1 at +126. Look, I did think that Georgiev was going to play. He's not. It's upsetting. I'm on Avalanche team total over 3 at -130. You're lucky, Wally. It's cold and snowy and shitty here. And Lee Davis said it's a bit of a knee cap. Corpus Christi was 11-point home favorite versus Commerce on February 23rd when they lost by 4. Says was leaning to Corpus Christi pretty heavy. Then I'm on the Ducks at +160. And the Hurricanes -1 at +117. Those are my 6 looks in NHL. Durrell is on the Hornets first quarter. He's on the Bulls first quarter -1.5 and the under 222.5. I moved on the Bulls with him. I didn't get the 1.5. I got the 2. Then Cavs, Celtics, we stayed off. LJ's on the Sixers -2. Embiid now questionable. The trilogy play today is the Knicks first quarter -2.5. He also added the full game -7.5 +100. Drill tripled up on the Knicks. Betting on the Hornets with no ball. But he didn't. I wonder if he made that official. I'll have to check his Twitter because I don't have a line for Hornets first quarter. Maybe he was going to wait on it. I'll have to ask Durrell, and I'm sure he's going to tweet everything out. So I'll wait. TCU line moved towards the Frogs a few seconds ago, says Alfred. Then additions after the Knicks spot. Nothing on Grizzlies Rockets, but LJ very interested in the Grizzlies. Just going to want to wait for the final injury report. I moved on the Magic +7.5, and Durrell wants the Lakers, but he wanted AD to be announced out and the line to move further in OKC's direction, which we believe is happening right now. And then we stayed off Pelicans, Blazers. That is our show today. Mally Mal saying TCU is a hot commodity. Thank you guys so much for your support of the show. It means a ton. This is a very important month. Very, very important month. 2023 has not gotten off to a good start. And I need my bankroll to be right. There's huge events coming up. We got March Madness. We got San Antonio. We got the Kentucky Derby and Belmont and Preakness. There's a lot on the line here for me right now. I need to deliver the goods badly. Mike M, Sammy, Comer, Mally Mal, Don, Play, Lee, Davis, Fat Wally, Rick J. What a great group. Troy Torrance, Piker, Christopher Comantini, NJ Stryker, Mark, Nick, Rocco Rogers, Johnny Guns, Jake Burns, T-Mac, Bankroll Spence, Slow Jams Arsenault. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for supporting the show. Yo-Yo Mendez, Perfect Rotation, Danzo. Thank you guys. BJ said, last time I gave out a $500 bet was on Tennessee. Let's keep it rolling. 500 on TCU to revenge that loss. This is going to be fun. This is going to be a lot of fun. Good amount of action, not too much. It's going to be fun. Dabby Cab, my friend, any last words for the Cappers supporting the show? And can you please leche us into the future?
Yeah. Just so you guys know, I squeezed the tit. Like I wrote burn it really hard when I leche, just so you know. I want everybody to know. But, man, you guys, if you can, get to San Antonio. I want to see you guys out there. I want to gamble with you. I want to light up some joints with you. I want to have some drinks. And I want to get in the studio and make some bomb content. I can't wait to see you down there again, Jimmy. So nice. If you can, guys, come to San Antonio. Until then, tune in today. Everything Pub Sports Radio's got going on. I know Jose's got stuff previewing baseball. I know that Connor Mack and Ian, they got the Net Profit show. I'll be on there Friday and Saturday. Just tune in. Let's make some fucking money. And until then, leche, like I said, twist that shit. Los motherfucking bookmakers, boys.